Are you ready for the Low Blows Network? It's the show where you control what's on the agenda. Ask us anything and we're bound to answer. Starring Rick Nash, Corporate King, and the Queen of Irish Wrestling, Katie Hardy. It's Ask Low Blows.
Alright, don't say a €1 joke. 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 Okay? Just getting warmed up. I am now warmed up. It is the introduction. Hi, I'm Corporate Cian, joined as always by Katie Harvey, generally managing Rick Nash, and today's birthday boy, Mr. Small Packet, Phil Boyd.
Happy birthday to you.
I'm not, that's not a effort to sing happy birthday.
It's actually way longer than you remember when you're on your own.
yeah, I think, you know what, the message is out there. It is Phil Boyd's birthday, happy birthday. Didn't say a €1 joke in there, so that's a good, solid introduction if you ask me. How are you feeling on your birthday, Phil?
It's feeling a lot better about 20 minutes ago before this thing started.
Well, it's
you for 30 minutes. You haven't been here.
Oh no, we're like, it's the suspense, it was the anxiety of having to go on this.
I would say Phil doesn't like getting his birthday acknowledged, and like he deliberately doesn't have it on Facebook, and he got very angry at me today when I put a happy birthday message to him on Facebook, because then people start wishing him happy birthday and he had to acknowledge them. Oh. And in general, he doesn't like acknowledging messages. So
no, like, and this is going to be like my thing, all right? So if you're on Facebook, it's going to tell you like it's 5 people's birthday every day, give or take, all right? And I just don't want to acknowledge people that, like, it's people that you barely meet, and you mightn't say anything on the computer since the last time you said happy birthday to them. And I get that off a few people, and I'm just like, look, yeah, that's great, but like, I don't really want to take 10 minutes out of my day every day to reply to those 5 people, so I just won't reply to yous, and you don't have to reply to me. But I feel like people reply to me, and I feel like I owe it back, you know what I mean? And I don't feel like I have to you, like, send me a private message or something, but I just, on the wall, if you just get something on the wall just saying, happy birthday, Phil, have a great day, I'm just like, oh, like that's so generic.
And what if when it comes around, what if when that comes around that you have to return the favour, what if you actually don't wish them a happy birthday by then? What if you're like, I don't want this to be happy for you?
That's it, like, if I don't return the favour, I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Like, they put me I get put in a very awkward position where, like, you know, oh, I can't believe I wished Phil a happy birthday and then Phil didn't wish it back. And it's not that I don't wish those people a happy birthday. I just don't really have the energy or push or drive to physically type the words out.
Yeah, I get that. I hear that.
I'm not person in that way, but like, it's just not my thing.
It's selfish is what it is. It's all those people wishing you happy times on this day that is dedicated to you. They're selfish. That's all they are. They're selfish people.
I didn't even care. Like I didn't even get any presents. Like,
hang on, that makes me sound like a dick. He did get a present.
Katie. Wow.
He did get a present, but I got it from in April when the lockdown was happening because he wanted to use it straight away. I got him a light surround for his dartboards.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was very thankful for it. So all I'm saying is I didn't have a present today, but I didn't even care. Like, it's just another present.
You asked me not to get you anything today.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care.
To be fair, when people don't care, what they often do is bring it up. That's a general normal reaction to not caring. So. Oh, brilliant! Happy birthday, anyway. Oh, yeah. You don't owe me one, Phil. You don't owe me. Well, July 24th, if you want to return the favour. But like, you don't owe me one, okay? I'm not. You're not indebted to me now, okay?
No, I owe you.
Well, I won't wish. I retract my happy birthday then, just so we're on a level playing field. Then, you know what I mean. Let's not put too much effort in. You know what I mean. But yeah, the last week of wrestling, anything noteworthy happened? I don't think anything really.
What?
Any big word? I don't think anything noteworthy happened. I'm just gonna let's hop into the questions. Anything? Can you think of anything that happened over the last few days that's worth really discussing?
Money in the Bank.
Becky Lynch.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. No, I'm going to hop to the questions. Right, fine. Okay, Money in the Bank, first of all. We have no Money in the Bank questions, which means nobody really cares about our opinion, but I think we'll give it anyway. Rick,
that's what we do.
What was your thoughts? What was your thoughts on Money in the Bank, first of all?
I know, it was class. I really enjoyed it. I was like so worried at the start. Like the pay-per-view was just like a Raw and then a really entertaining half-hour main event. But I did really enjoy how it ended by half two because I stayed up to watch. I had a great weekend. I had a Zoom party for UFC and Money in the Bank. I was delighted with my life. I was super social, but didn't have to leave my bedroom once. It was amazing. But like, yeah, I loved the main event. I thought it was hilarious. I was so sketchy with it, like when they started off, because they were doing entrances and then standing together in a room. And I was like, oh god, like the women.
I love that though.
The women were standing in a line.
The Daniel Bryan part was so funny.
Yeah, and he's like, are we going to fight now? Like, I thought, yeah. Like,
he just throws in, Fire Todd Unctious, here we are now, all the lads.
I love, like, when I got what they were going for, I'm like, alright, I'm so in. Do you know what it was? It was like, and I thought of your videos recently that put in my head. It was the story mode for like a SmackDown. Do you know what I mean? That's what it felt like the entire time, because everything was real forced and like staged and stuff like that, and even the cuts. But they kind of meant it. They were aware of it. Like Stephanie McMahon doing a cameo clearly from home, like, and stuff like that. And then like the Vince McMahon, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles bit, that was fantastic. Bryan just spent the whole match just laughing. Like he was legitimately just like, I saw someone on Twitter giving out and being like, poor Daniel Bryan, like he could have wrestled, blah 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 blah. And it's like, he is having the best fun I've seen him have. He cannot stop himself laughing in this match. He's having to crack so much. I thought it was great. I love the winners. Asuka, and obviously what happened there, I'm sure we'll get to it as time goes on. Otis as well was a nice winner. I got it as soon as they did it, because I'm like, yeah, it's like, this has been a comedy Money in the Bank match, so that next year we'll feel fresh when it's back to being serious. It's a weird time with, and like kind of WWE isn't taking themselves too seriously now either. I'm into it when they rip the piss. So having him be the Money in the Bank holder, I've no issue with, because like it's not like, it's kind of it's extra time in wrestling now. It's just kind of extra bonus material rather than being fully canon stuff. So Otis winning, I don't mind. It could be fun. It's different. I was a total fan of the main event. I loved it.
Yeah. I love the main event.
Unanimous, like.
Well, one thing just before the main event I wanted to ask you about, because me and Phil kind of disagreed on this. What did you think of The Fiend versus Braun Strowman?
Ah, crap.
I thought it was fucking awkward as shit. Yeah. Without fans, it was the most awkward match I've ever watched in my life. With fans, I'm sure it would have been alright. But like, the silence when he's like crying and all that, I'm like, oh man. I hope nobody walks in me watching this, like, you know what I mean?
I was kind of into it. Like,
why?
I was enjoying it. Like, I don't know why.
It wasn't boring, like.
Yeah, maybe it was just the most interesting match that happened before the main event. But like, I was kind of into it. But like, Phil shit on it. He hated it.
No, I actually thought that bell to bell, like the actual wrestling part of it was really good. I thought Bray Wyatt was actually really good from a wrestling point of view, which is not something you'd sort of attribute to him a lot. But then when it got to the point where like he came up in the black mask, and then I said fair enough, but then it seemed to go on for so long. Like it seemed to go on for like 5 minutes, and like this is a hefty break both wrestlers are after getting. I mean, beating the crap out of each other for so long. So they got a big hefty break, and then they tell their story. He stamps on the mask, he gives him one slam and pins him, and I'm just like,
Bray Wyatt is beatable. Now the Fiend comes
But he wasn't beatable for like 10 minutes, and then like he got a 5-minute break, and then took the slam and got beaten. Like,
it was a very powerful slam.
Look, we all know what it is. It's Bray Wyatt wanted to come out before the Fiend came out, and he asked the Fiend for the chance, and obviously it didn't work for Bray, so now the Fiend will be next. So like it's a good it's a good stepping point to another match, like. But generally, I just didn't like. I didn't like the whole ending. Like it was too cringe. Like
it was also like a long time to wait for a payoff that you knew was coming as soon as you saw what Braun was doing. Do you know what I mean? Like you're like, right, so he's not coming back to Bray. It's a big fake out. He's gonna hit the power slam and win. But it just took 5 minutes to get there, and it's like, fuck's sake, lads, stop like pretending. You're not fooling me here.
Yeah, like I don't think they would have filled a 5-year-old. Like that's my, well, you know what, guys? I was going to tell you this now. I've been secretly recording Katie at the end of like child films and stuff like that. What? And I'm putting a little montage like a few more, and it's just going to like getting suckered into like kiddie films and the happy feeling at the end. Like.
Yeah, no, it's not just kiddie films, right? Last night we watched The Main Event, which you know the WWE film on Netflix.
Yeah.
About a kid who finds a magic lucha mask and enters an NXT tournament to become the next superstar.
Yeah, real adult movie. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's everything you would want in a film. It's fantastic. My particular favourite part was Otis was playing a character called the Stink Face.
That was gold. That was fucking gold.
And he's wrestling this kid in the magic lucha mask. And his finisher is he throws him over the top rope, but the kid is holding on to the top rope. And then he lets out, and I'm not exaggerating, a 40-second fart. And this just reverberates through the entire arena, and you watch the whole 40 seconds. You just sit there, and it does not end. It just, and you know when you laugh at something and you get quiet, and then it goes on so long you start to laugh again.
It was brilliant. It was easily the best minute of cinematography I've seen this year.
I would recommend the film heavily, but that's what we were watching last night, and it was just a good feel-good film. So check it out.
Okay, interesting.
Any more Money in the Bank thoughts?
That's it. That's me. There wasn't much to talk about, was there?
Two people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, two people.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say the death of Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black was very, I mean, I get Baron Corbin wanted to win, but I feel like, I just think WWE should have done more to ensure the safety of Mysterio and Black, so that wouldn't have been allowed to happen. But here we are.
Worst thing about it is, imagine actually physically killing two people and still not winning the match.
And he could have won it as well if he decided to just, hey, Asuka, how about we work together? You get your briefcase, I get my briefcase, and then we both win. But he's like, no, my briefcase.
I feel like Asuka would have won the match a lot sooner if she had just hit top floor instead of second floor. Right away.
It makes sense.
That's a good point, actually. I don't know what should. Well, maybe it's one of those buildings where, like, actually, no, I don't know. I don't actually have a valid explanation. I'm sorry. I
think the lads. I think the lads hit the elevator though, didn't they? The lads hit the elevator button, so that would have stopped her on her way up to the top floor. Like, do you know the way if you're going up to say the sixth floor and someone on the fourth floor wants to go up too, then I think that's what happened. Yeah, I remember that now.
Perfect.
Okay, I missed that part.
That was the only plot hole I found.
Psychology, pal.
So.
Wrestling 101.
Yeah, I mean, so we go from that then to Monday, and Becky Lynch makes her announcement. A lot of people had, things to say, mostly congratulations. I've nothing really else to add to it. She's pregnant. Congratulations. I mean, Danny, you have anything you want to say about that?
Favorite jokes on it have been congratulations to Seth Rollins being pregnant, and also as well, she beat Ronda to that too. I did enjoy when people were saying that. But yeah, no, that's it. It's just congratulations. It's awesome. I love the segment. I thought she came across really well. I think Asuka didn't know at the time. Like, I think she probably knew she was getting the women's title, but her reaction was very natural, like, and it was very cool. It was a real emotional moment. And it's cool to get those moments even because, like, you kind of think when we've got those moments before, it's usually made by the fans being being there and people crying and stuff, even in an empty arena, it still managed to get real emotion. So I was delighted for her, and yeah, obviously if she's half as good at being a man as she is at wrestling, she's going to be fucking killer. So yeah, fair play.
But also another what made it that little bit more powerful, I suppose, is the fact that normally when we see somebody, relinquish a title in that sort of manner, with that sort of announcement, it's always an injury, a retirement, or something horrible like that. You know what I mean? Whereas in this, it turned out to be quite a happy thing. You know what I mean? So I'm happy with it. We have got questions, but later on. So that's there's more to it. I suppose we'll probably save it for then. Yeah. So will we hop into the questions?
Let's do it.
Right. Question number 1. At Dave Bandana. I've been continuing to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine lately, so I'd like to know what's the strangest thing you've ever eaten, liked or disliked? Hashtag boil, is that relevant?
Yeah. That's a character.
Yeah, because before when I got angry not understanding Dave's question, coming out of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, this actually makes it clearer because Boyle is a foodie in Brooklyn Nine-Nine and he's always eating weird concoctions. So I now understand the bridge between Brooklyn Nine-Nine and the question. So thank you, Dave. I am a notoriously picky and plain eater. So I don't normally try things. If I don't like the smell of something, I won't try it. But most of the time I won't even smell it to see. I'm very, very plain, so I'll have to have a think about this one.
Look, I had crab spaghetti in Barcelona once. We were over there and we went to somebody's house and they said we're having crab spaghetti. It was nice though. It was I'm trying to think of stuff that was bad. But I had sushi and all, but when I was in Japan, but I didn't like it really. But that's probably, you could tolerate it. That's about it.
Haggis, maybe, had in Scotland. That's like sheep intestine, isn't it? Is that right? Tastes like mint.
I always get grief for. I'm like you, and Cian, I think you're quite similar too. We'd all be kind of Phil, you be the adventurous one of the group, but I don't know. I don't eat. Again, I'm similar to what Katie said, where I don't even try stuff that I'm not sure of, and you can't be sure without trying, so I just stick to the same diet, and I'm quite happy with that. So I think I get grief. I eat steak and kidney pie, and a lot of people are horrified by that, even though I think it's quite a normal thing to eat. I think it's fallen out of fashion in recent years, but it was a very normal thing to eat, and I ate it when I was a kid, and it's nice. So, but people are like, "Hey, you're eating kidneys." So yeah. Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's fine, but some people are horrified. They're like, "You're eating what?" And I don't know why you told Vince McMahon I was eating steak and kidney pie, but I did. So yeah, no, that's about as adventurous as it gets for me. Dave, by the way, I liked the lack of context in your questions. I thought it was just a running theme where you were just like, "I'm watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine today. What time did you wake up?" I like the randomness element of it, by the way.
Right. So when I was in fucking primary school, when I was in 6th class, they did this thing. These fucking outsiders came in, like fucking Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. They're called the fucking food dudes, right? For those of you that are my age or younger or maybe a tiny bit older, you may have come across food dudes when you were in primary school, right? These dickheads would come in with their fucking fruit and vegetable, and would essentially bribe you into eating the fruit and vegetable in exchange for some fucking shit prize, some shit fucking school related prize, like a pencil pair or rubber or some shit, It was fucking art, right? I ate tomatoes, right? Tomatoes are disgusting. If anybody ever even thinks to offer me a tomato ever again, I will actually get sick on their fucking feet. That is the most vile fucking food I have ever seen in my entire life. As soon as I tried it, went straight into the toilet, got sick all over the place, couldn't stand it. Fucking cucumber, disgusting. I'd probably tried fruit, relatively normal fruit and vegetables all throughout that week that I just don't remember. But I hated every single one of them, and that's partly why my diet is the way it is today. Fuck food dudes, and I don't like the vast majority of fruit and vegetables. Yeah. So fair. I thought you were gonna say, "Oh no, come on, Cian, the fruit's good for you." No, it's fair. No, well, do you know what? Yeah, you're right. No, it is fair. at Clueless Nerd. Oh, thanks for the question, Dave, by the way. At Clueless Nerd, Adam, or will I call him Burger? I won't call him Burger. No, I won't call him. Come on, be professional here. We're professionals. This is a professional podcast. Are there any movies or TV shows you'd like to be able to watch again for the first time? I'd love to be able to watch Infinity War and Endgame again for the first time, for the devastation of the Snap and Avengers Assemble fight scene in Endgame. Katie, I don't know what that is, but you like movies and stuff. So what? Is there anything you want to see for the first time again?
Oh yeah, the Avengers series, like the whole Marvel universe, would be amazing to see again. Especially the first few films where I didn't realize what it was going to build into. Like I would have savored it more.
You hated it when it started.
Yeah.
Oh, you hated Captain America. That was it.
Shut up, Phil.
Oh, no, Captain America's our favourite. It's just boring. He's just so straight. Like, he's just like, oh, I'm good and I love America. And like, oh, he's got no arc. Like, and then when it came to Winter Soldier, I think, was it?
Yeah.
And then it was like she completely turned like, oh, he's so funny. He says the best one-liners. Like, he's just a hero.
Even though I only watched it a year ago, I think my answer though is Game of Thrones. I didn't realize how into it I would get, and I would have tried to space it out because I watched 8 seasons in the space of a month and a half. I would have spaced it out and given myself more time with it, I think.
Yeah.
Or would I have been able to? Maybe I wouldn't have been able to. Because I tried to get finished before season 8 started, which I just about managed. But yeah, that was special. I'd love to watch that again.
Infinity War is such a good show. I don't think Endgame. I think Endgame holds up because here's the thing with Endgame. We kind of knew the nuts and bolts of what was going to happen in Endgame. We kind of knew, especially from when they started releasing ads. As soon as they gave us a hint of the plot, we're like, right, I can tell exactly what's going to happen. And the achievement in it, that it was still a great movie while we knew what was going to happen. But we knew we were getting the big we knew we were getting that scene where they all come back. And it was amazing. And you can still rewatch it and you still get tingles, which is what makes it good. But you don't need to see it again. The feeling of the snap in Infinity War, I'll never forget it. It's just like, what the actual fuck? And then you start to think about it as soon as you leave the cinema and you're like, they have to bring them back because they have a contract and this and that and the other. But you're in the moment, you're just like, what the fuck? It's so vicious. It's so sudden. It's so unexpected. It's such a good moment to have seen, and you can only experience that feeling truly once. Game of Thrones was actually my answer for this too. I got to watch live as it aired from season 4 on. I binged the first 3 seasons. I'd love to have binged it from the very start and just had that week to week engagement with it that I got to have, because you saw it last year, when we did the game of Low Blows and stuff like that. When Game of Thrones, and when I get that level of shows, it was Lost before that, when I get that level of nerdiness with a show, I'll obsess about it and it'll become my life for the week. Do you know what I mean? As sad as that may be, I love it. I love nerding out and losing myself in those things. Harry Potter as well. I'd love to read the books again. Just my favourite things basically. But there's a lot of things that don't add up. I'm rewatching The Sopranos at the moment, and that's just as good as watching the first time, because every time you watch it, it's kind of like The Simpsons, where you're learning new things every time, and they're adding layers to it every single time. So you need to rewatch that multiple times to completely appreciate it. So there's a lot of things where it aren't, but Game of Thrones is one of them where the deaths and everything in it, you kind of got an Avengers snap moment 7 or 8 times throughout Game of Thrones, where you're just like, how does this show continue? I'd love to be able to, because the Ned Stark thing, I'd love to have been able to watch it when I was watching the Ned Stark thing, the Ned Stark death was what drew me into Game of Thrones to begin with, because I was only half interested, because I was very much I watched the first series in 2 days, so that's partly why I was still getting sold on it. But I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I'll give it a try because everyone else loves it. Then that hooked me. Whereas I think if I was watching it weekly, I'd be obsessed by that stage, and the death could mean as much as it did to me. As it stands, it meant a lot to me, and it hooked me on the show, but I didn't appreciate it because I didn't know who the characters were yet. I didn't understand the full repercussions of it all. So yeah, it'd be Game of Thrones for me as well.
Yeah, but you knew Ned Stark was you knew Sean Penn was the feature actor of it,
Yeah.
So you're this show is obviously built around him. And then it's like, and even when that knife or the axe or knife is coming down, like, you think there's going to be an arrow in the chest, like, and it's going to take the executioner out, but it doesn't. And you're like, oh, they just killed the main guy. You know?
Yeah. It's like they've just because you start and you're like, I am up for watching a TV show with like years of Sean Penn. Like, I'm actually up for that. Like, I've got to the position in my life where I could go for a show where Sean Penn is the lead guy, like, and he's really good at it. And then as well though, like, it's just a case of like when that happened, it's like they've changed TV. Like that's not in the rules, that you can't do that. It's just like, how do they have a show? They don't have a main character anymore. Like, fucking idiots. And then as you go on, at the next episode, you're like, oh, I see. Yeah, no, this is class. This is amazing. Fair fucks.
Yeah, I like in terms of movies. No. In terms of TV shows. No, Game of Thrones was like, for me, like, the shows that I watched when I was in school. So like, I actually have watched some of the bigger shows. Like, obviously I watched The Walking Dead still, but like Breaking Bad, Prison Break, Sons of Anarchy, Game of Thrones. Like, I watched all of them. I wouldn't have time to watch them now. You know what I mean? So if I hadn't already watched them, like, I'd never watched them. Do you know what I mean? Well, like Game of Thrones, for me, I got lost quite a lot watching it. Like, as you probably are aware, seeing as, we did the podcast, I got lost quite a lot. So it was a bit of an effort watching. I enjoyed it, but it was also like, because again, I binged it. Like, I didn't watch it from season 1 either. So it was, I thought it was a bit of an effort at times. And even like with funny shows, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, the in-betweeners would be gas to watch again from the start, you know what I mean? Because like, then you can laugh at all that stuff for the first time again, which would be cool as well. But on the flip side of that, I love being able to like reference shows like that and like laugh at other shit through referencing that, if that makes sense. Yeah. So my answer is no. There's actually nothing I'd like to watch again for the first time. I'm kind of, I don't know, yeah.
That's fair.
But thanks for the question nonetheless, Adam. At Bit of sweet chin, it's Keith. Hi, Keith. With the weather getting nicer, just want to know, what is your go-to ice pop? Also, Ben & Jerry's or Hagan Dazs, is that how you say?
Hagan Dazs.
I don't know how to say Hagan Dazs.
Hagan Dazs.
What's that? Hagan Dazs, right? I mean, I don't know what it is. Is that? I assume it's.
Oh my god, am I old?
Anyway.
Oh fuck.
And which flavour?
Just give me an existential crisis and then act like it's just a normal question. I
always do existential crises. That's like what I do here.
That's like one of my favourite hobbies. It depends. It depends. I tend to flip throughout the sort. Like, I'll go through like obsessive times where I'm like eating like I'll go mad for like ice burgers, but then like I'll eat them like every day and then get sick of them, and then I'll go into Snickers, and then I'll go into Twisters if I'm feeling fruity, and yeah, I'll just kind of mix it up as it goes along with ice cream. So I don't have one go-to. I could go for an ice burger right now, so I'm guessing it's that right now. But if you ask me again next week, I'll probably change. Ben & Jerry's all the way. Hagen Dazs is all right. It's very underrated. But yeah, give me that chocolate fudge brownie.
If you want to take 5 minutes to go get ice burger, like, go ahead. Like,
Twisters or brunches for me all the time. Twisters mostly at the moment now, it's a nice weather. And cookie dough, Ben & Jerry's, my favourite.
That's wrong. Cian, have you got a right answer here?
Well, I don't have an answer to the second one. The first one, like Magnums. I love Magnums, and I love fucking Loop the Loops. I think they're pretty slick. But yeah, I don't have an answer to the one.
Nice.
Is that your answer, Phil?
Loop the Loop is the best one.
That's what they cost you.
Oh, is it? Oh, nice.
Yeah, Loop the Loop is the best. Like.
Good show.
You got everything in Loop the Loop.
I've never seen you eat Loop the Loop.
Oh, I love Loop the Loop. And a mint. I love a mint feast as well.
I've never bought these ice pops for the house. I've never seen him eat them.
I don't eat ice pops. I'm an athlete.
Does anyone? Do either of you guys remember Rockets?
No.
The rockets were the orange with chocolate on the top, weren't
Yeah, they were like loop-de-loops, but with like kind of real tangy orange. It was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, they were a good show. Again, they were about 10p back in the day.
Yeah, proper cheap as well. Like great value for money. Like them and Cool Pops are the best value for money ice pops. I know that's not what you asked, but it's worth bringing up.
But like that's the whole thing. Like I'm so old. It's like I used to go to my corner shop and get them for 10p.
Yeah.
Like a loop the loop used to cost 25p.
Yeah.
Like you pay over €1 for a loop the loop now,
Yeah.
and that's just outrageous. It's extortionate to me.
Inflation. It's awful. It's awful.
Great.
So you're saying you is valuable?
Shut the fuck up. Right, I'm not even. Don't. I'm out. Take the question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big ice pop person either. I don't know. I'm never. It's just not really something I'd buy when I'm in the shop. It's like it's normally, I don't know. But if I had to choose, yeah, Loop the Loop and Magnum for me would be like my favorites.
Nice.
But we asked another question. You find a magic lamp and are granted 3 wishes. This is an interesting one, right? I had to think about this, but I have my answer in the end. But the wishes are cursed. 2 of your wishes will come true, and 1 will be the complete opposite of what you wish for. And if all wishes are the same, then the most negative outcome will happen. So 3 different wishes. You're kind of gambling with this one, but I have my answer. What are your answers, though, Rick? What's your? Do you have 3 wishes?
Tell me your answer, because I need to shake out the cobwebs in my brain for this one. So you go first, and I'll probably get one off that.
Right. Okay. So the key to this, you have to be specific, right? Because for example, right, my first answer, I want Ireland to win the 2026 World Cup, right? The reason I say 2026 is because Qatar probably won't be that much of a laugh. And if I say Ireland win a World Cup, then if this goes wrong, Ireland will never win a World Cup, right? Also, pick things that if Ireland doesn't win the 2020, wait, what year did I say?
2026.
20. Oh no, sorry, not 26, 24. I mean, no,
Right.
yeah, it is 26. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Anyway, the point is that World Cup, and if it doesn't happen, then it probably won't happen anyway. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world, but if it happens, fucking amazing. So that's number 1 is Ireland win the 2026 World Cup.
Right.
Number 2 is Shamrock Rovers win the Champions League within the next 5 years. Again, because if they don't win it within the next 5 years, which is the opposite of that wish, so be it. You know what I mean? Maybe they'll win it 6 years from now. Who knows? I'll be optimistic. Then I know Declan probably loves that wish. And my other one is WrestleMania Dublin. I want WrestleMania Dublin to happen within the next 5 years or whatever. You know what I mean? Because again, you have to be specific so that if it doesn't happen, it's okay. You know what I mean? But and if it doesn't happen, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have happened anyway, so you don't really lose out on anything. So turning around and saying I hope to get €1 billion. The opposite of that. Well, I suppose the opposite of that is not getting €1 billion. But I imagine what Keith means by that is, say if you wish for €1 billion and it turns out to be the bad wish, you lose €1 billion. You know what I mean? I'd imagine it I imagine that's what he's getting at. You know what I mean?
I think so. Like what you saying Rovers about winning the Champions League there, so if that doesn't come true, then Rovers would go into liquidation and be gone.
No, you have to be specific.
I think it is the opposite.
No.
For Rovers to win the Champions League, that is a big stretch, a massive stretch. So if that was to go in the opposite, you have to go in the much more opposite stretch. So Rovers disappearing completely is more likely than Rovers winning the Champions League.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're wrong. That's not how this
don't
question works. That's not how this question works. It wouldn't go to liquidation. Like what Cian's saying, right? They just wouldn't win
already.
What?
They went into liquidation already.
I don't understand. I don't know how football works. I'm agreeing with Cian's train of thought on how this works.
Right.
So what are your wishes then?
I was trying to find a sneaky way around this, but I can't do maths in my head. If I wish to lose €2 million, that means I either get €2 million or I lose €2 million.
Yeah.
I don't have €2 million to lose.
Right. I think you go to prison when you owe that much money.
What?
I think you go to prison when you owe that much money.
Well, I just thought it would be like they just wouldn't be able to take it from me, so they just stop.
What do you think happens when you owe millions? Like, you either go to prison or die, depending on who you owe.
Well, see, what I was going to do was I was going to wish to lose €1 million, wish to lose €1.5 million, and wish to lose €2 million. And then one of them would have to come through. Oh, it still wouldn't counterbalance the amount.
Yeah, like Katie, whatever happens, you're losing money, like, and a lot of it.
This is where the math comes in. I was trying to find figures where if only one wish came true, it would cover the losses of the other two and extra.
Katie's on the ball here. She just did it completely wrong, right? Just wish for 100 million, wish for 100 million, and wish for 100 million, and then you would get 100 million, get 100 million, and lose 100 million.
No, because he said that if you wish for the same thing, then the most negative outcome will happen.
I had to stagger the amount.
100 million, 101 million, and 102 million.
But Keith's response to that would be, you're still just wishing for money, which is the same thing.
Okay, I would like to wish for €1 million. I would like to, I wish to lose €1 million. I wish to not have a €1 million house. And then I wish to not have 1 million dogs.
Wait, you wish for 4 things? Wait, what? That's like the basic part. That's not even the confusing part. Just 3 wishes, like.
66% of your wishes are going to be positive. 33% of your wishes are going to be negative. So if you have 3 negative wishes, then 2/3 of them are going to come true negatively, and the other one will come true positively. So
2 of them come true.
Yeah, 2 of them come true. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah. 2 of them come true. Yeah, so I'm solid. If I wish for 3 negatives, then 2 become positives.
No.
2 becomes a positive because 2 wishes come true.
Yes.
I worked on the premise that 1 wish came true.
Looking at her here, and I'm pretty sure she still doesn't completely understand it.
Are we all in agreement though that I'm on some kind of good train of thought here?
No.
Like,
it's an attempt.
Lads, she runs Fight Factory. We be fucked.
The future of Irish wrestling is in this person's hands, like, just saying.
Well, luckily we don't deal in wishes. We deal in cold, hard facts and trainees, so it's fine.
Oh, brilliant.
I don't know what to wish for. I don't know how to navigate this.
I had a good answer there, but now I'm completely confused, and I just wish this question was over.
Well, unfortunately, that's the one wish that went wrong. So we're still. You can copy and paste mine if you're stuck, like.
Yeah, I'll take yours.
Okay. But in all honesty, Keith, that was a fucking great question. I had to think about that one.
Any question that breaks Katie Harvey is always good by default. Like, that was hilarious.
Oh, fucking hell. Where am I now? At Stay Safe Rovers, Declan asks, have you ever tried to start a fight with a celebrity on Twitter? Back in my gambling days, I would always bet on Caroline. I don't know that. Yeah, Caroline. You know Caroline. Good old Caroline. To win Wimbledon. To win Wimbledon every time. Every time she would lose, and every year I would have a massive rant at her on Twitter. Same with Rory McIlroy for golf tournaments, and same with James Wade and Adrian Lewis for that darts tournament around Christmas and New Year's. Also, you're big into these rants, Declan. also had a massive rant with an ex-Rovers player after losing a bet, and it ended up with me and his girlfriend having a Twitter war, which I totally regret now. A lot to take in there, Declan. Quite a lot. My answer, first of all, is no. I know a lot of people actually are quite proud of particularly with wrestlers, you'll see it a lot. They're proud of oh, this lad has me blocked on Twitter. But it's like when they tell you the story of why they're blocked, it's normally like them being a bit of an arsehole. You know what I mean? Like, I've no. Oh, Katie just disappeared. Oh God.
I got it. You're good.
Oh no, she's back. Okay, I could just kept going.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm not really big into the whole fighting with celebrities or fighting with wrestlers on Twitter. I don't know. I just think it's a bit cringy personally. But I mean, I don't know. Some people get a kick out of the fact that when they're blocked, it means the other person saw it. But I mean, I don't know. Rick, do you ever get into any beef with celebrities? You know.
Most of my beefs, like, people know about because they're, like, low blow stories. And most of them, like, to be fair, aren't, like, me actively, like, I'm not trolling to get a response. Like, for example, once AJ Styles had a fight with us about, like, when we gave him, like, a blowy, which is not something a lot of men usually oppose, but, like, he was not into that, so he had a dig at us. We gave him a Match of the Year award, and he just, like, got pissy with us for some reason. He was just having a bad day, I guess. Jericho blocked us, like, for, like, similar no reason. Who else is there? Like, a couple of radio DJs. Yeah, they might have had a good reason. I didn't mean it in a bad way. We can't talk about that for legal reasons. But yeah, I
remember that actually. Yeah.
I don't take it back, but I see their point. I didn't mean it I didn't mean it, like, to get us out of hand as it did.
I think you forgot about that one.
Yeah, so, like, that's pretty much, like, yeah, like, unfortunately, like, a lot of the people listening would be familiar with any blow-ups that I've had. So yeah, that.
Okay, I'd say you had mad scraps with celebrities. Go on, right? Who have you fought?
You think I've had scraps with celebrities?
Yeah, on Twitter. Like, do you ever, like, fight with celebrities on Twitter?
Not really.
Or wrestlers? Could be wrestlers.
Have you ever given a dearest blah 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 message to, like, someone famous? Have you ever given one of your patented Katie Harvey dress downs?
Oh, probably. Now you put it like that. I'm trying to think who. I don't think so. No, not on Twitter. I don't think I've had a celebrity spat. Like, with celebrities, like, I don't know. I don't tend to, like, engage when they're being, like, some of them are being idiots, because they're never going to see it. They're not going to respond to me. Like, you know, I just know.
Yeah, like going back to Declan's, like, points there. What was it? Carolina Wozniacki. Who else? Rory McIlroy, and the darts players Adrian Lewis and James Wade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's the worst kind of trolling. Like those boys are probably playing for the weekend or the day, put everything into it. They've just came up short. You know, their dream of winning Wimbledon is over. And they go on Twitter and then there's just some guy saying, like, fuck you. Like, I had a fiver on you. Like, they just lost out on, like, 20 grand and a trophy. Probably more. Like, there's Declan. I lost €5 on the accumulator.
Put it this way, I can see it from the other side, because, like, imagine if you're, like, a pro wrestler and you had a title, and then somehow you lost that title, and then someone went on social media and kept kicking you while you were down. If somebody, you know, like had tweets about it, and, you know, even went so far as to make an entire video pointing out that you lost the title.
No, I'll take it back. It's cool to fight with wrestlers on Twitter. Absolutely. No, when you word it like that, I fully see what you mean.
Actually, you know what? One person I have had a scrap with on Twitter. Disco Inferno.
Oh yeah, I think I remember this.
I did have a scrap with Disco Inferno, and I was only telling Phil about it the other night because we were rewatching Nitro, about where he put a tweet out about he wanted guys to take pictures of good-looking wrestling fans in the crowd and send them to his Twitter. And I had a bit of a back and forth with him about that.
How did you like? Do you know the way, like, so if someone's name, for example, is Deco, like, she'd be like, dearest Declan the Third. How did you do that to Disco, where you're like, dearest discography?
Dear Mr. Inferno.
I remember that. That's one of the greatest hits Katie Harvey dressed down. Like, that was fantastic.
And then I was secretly delighted to find out I had more Twitter followers than him, so
nice. It
made me really happy.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that's the only person that I've kind of publicly had a spat with.
For the record, I want the record to show Declan did tweet us afterwards and said that he now regrets his behaviour from the past. He's learned and grown as a human, so let him off the hook.
he's one of the most positive people on Twitter now.
Yeah.
So that's quite a turnaround.
Yeah, it is. Like, I can't imagine. I was gonna say I can't imagine Declan fighting with any of these because I've only ever known Declan as like the positive, like you put Leanne Kieran and all that. You know what I mean?
Actually, no, I can't. So, like, if you're Engo, he'll have a go at you, but everyone else is good.
Well, thanks for the question, Declan. It was actually really good. The two questions, yes. Both kind of similar. First of all, at TKenny2622, no Queen versus Cian because he wants to talk about some UFC. Cian, how was UFC 249 and how does it feel that you were wrong about Gaethje winning and I was right? First of all, I never had this conversation with you, Tony. I think you got me mixed up with Oren, but you are actually right. I saw this question, I was like, okay. But you are right, actually. I did think Tony was going to win, and I wanted Tony Ferguson to win because I wanted Tony versus Khabib. But I'm happy Gaethje won too. I really like Justin Gaethje. He's never had a boring fight in his life. And Gaethje versus Khabib on Fight Island in July. Oh, yeah. Lads. But what did I think of the show overall? Holy shit, I love it. I don't think MMA, like the lack of crowd for MMA, it isn't a hindrance the way it is with like wrestling. Like in MMA, it's I wouldn't say it's like objectively better, but you could argue that it's better. Like like it's a lot more tense. It's interesting to see how it may have affected some of the fighters. Like if you look at the main event, Gaethje, he stunned Ferguson several times. And at no point did he rush in like he normally would and try and, finish the fight and get caught in the process. He stayed calm and he kept doing his thing and, he eventually won the last round. But if the crowd were there, if the crowd were like, come on, kill him, you know what I mean? Would it have affected him? Who knows? But either way, I love it. I love listening to the punches, the set. Like you can hear what the cornermen are saying. You can hear the panic. You can hear like, it's like an underground fight club or something. I think it's really, really cool. And I'm delighted. There's another UFC show on tonight because I need to do a lot of catching up on the weeks they've missed. So there's a UFC tonight. There's UFC, I think, the end of this week as well. And there's going to be a lot more over the next few weeks. Mm-hmm. What?
Overeem is the end of the week. And
Walt Harris
tonight, yeah, and tonight is absolute boss as well. It's Anthony Smith against Glover Teixeira. So that's an absolute class fight.
OSP against Ben Rothwell as well, which I'm very much looking forward to. I fucking love Ben Rothwell. But overall, I thought it was fucking great. I thought it was really, really good. And I'm excited for the fucking next one. Yeah, I don't really know. Also, just in general, the one thing I will say is like in terms of like the crowd not being there, perhaps we missed, it was a card that they would have popped for it. It was a lot of really cool moments in there, a lot of cool finishes. Calvin Keita, Francis Ngannou, which we'll get to in a second. And what was the co-main event? Oh, the co-main event, controversial one. Henry Cejudo and Dominic Cruz. Rick, did you think that was a fair stoppage?
Yes, easily. Like, I was on with one of the
really?
like, we had a Zoom party, and I was on we were chatting to one of the lads, and I was like, lad, he literally, like, the rule is if a fighter doesn't defend himself after 3 punches, it has to be stopped. I turned around to me mate, and I'm like, he literally hit him like 10 times, and then he was like, no, he didn't, he was still moving, and then, like, we counted the amount of punches. It was exactly 10 times he hit him. Like, for Henry Cejudo to hit you 10 times, that needs to be stopped. Like, I get that he was still moving around, and that showed heart by Dominic Cruz, but like, and I wanted Cruz to win. Like, it was a no-brainer for me. I think like 90% of the fans probably wanted Cruz to win that fight, but like, it was a stoppage any day. 10 unanswered punches. Like, you could have brain damage from that, and you can still move, you can still be conscious, you might even get knocked out, but it can still fuck your brain up. So on a safety reason alone, it was an easy stoppage for me.
Nah, I disagree. But what I will say is, one thing I didn't like was apparently Cruz came out afterwards and said the ref, smelled of cigarettes and alcohol and that he was, intoxicated and all that, which is quite a heavy accusation to throw. I don't believe that. It wasn't like, what I will say about the stoppage is that it wasn't a complete robbery. Like, it was, I disagree with it personally, but I can understand how other people would say that it was a fair stoppage. So I wouldn't, overall, it was interesting. I can't believe after the Cruz-Cejudo fight, one of the fighters retired and it wasn't Cruz. That was the part that really fucking threw me off. Yeah. On one hand, I'm devastated about that because I really wanted to see Cejudo get dethroned. But on the other aspect, fair play to him. It takes a lot of power for a fighter who's, not fucked with CTE or, not broken down over the years of fighting to be able to step away while they're still healthy, still relatively young, and be able to live their life. So fair fucks to them. But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Long story short, kind of. But to answer, that's Tony's question out of the way. To answer at Mitchell C94's question, he wants to talk about UFC, but he also says, who is the scariest human being in the world, and why is it Francis Ngannou? Holy fucking shit! First of all, I hate people who say that MMA should be illegal, but when you see Francis Ngannou throwing those hands, and when they connect with a man's head, it's like, I get there's weight divisions, but like the ability to take a shot like that isn't cancelled out by the increase in power as you go up the divisions. You know what I mean? So it's fucking devastating. It's insane. Like, but no, Artem Lobov is the scariest human being in the world. I actually went onto Artem's Wikipedia page, where he is literally 3,000-0. 3,000, is it 3,000? Yes, 1,000 by knockout, 1,000 by submission, 1,000 by decision, 0 losses. I don't really remember that many fights, but Wikipedia doesn't lie. He's been active since 1909, and his 2 nicknames are the Russian Hammer and the Goat. Again, Wikipedia doesn't lie. It is up there. You can check it. But who would you say is the scariest human being in the world? This actually, we'll throw this question out to everyone, because Katie and Phil, I don't know, are either of you UFC people?
No.
I think UFC is fake. Right? It's not real. I think anyone who watches UFC is an idiot.
Phil only watches real sports like hockey.
Is CM Punk back?
No,
he's not back. He will never be back.
I seen a graphic. Maybe it's for something else. Everyone's doing the Jordan "I'm back" thing now, and I seen one with him. I thought it was for UFC. Must not be.
I think it was backstage.
He's on backstage. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's that's a thing.
I haven't lost a shoe fight in about 5 years, so I'm the baddest man in the floor.
So basically, UFC aside, I'll still ask you, who would you say is the scariest human being in the world?
Phil. And I can say that now he's left the room.
I got him.
It's just his pure determination. I once watched him and Michael Mavis shoe fight that went on, I'm not joking, 45 minutes, because neither of them would give up.
Oh no, someone gave up, Ari. Who gave up, Katie?
We did, watching.
No, Mick gave up. And just before that, I bet Liam Royal too in about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. And you know what? After beating both of them, after going over an hour beating the both of them, semi-final, final, I got up and I did a little dance because I was fresh. I'm a sick man when it comes to this shoe. I love it. Nobody beats the fella.
Yeah.
So all right. So Phil, would you say yourself then as the answer?
Oh, he's walked out again.
I'd say Phil.
I'd say
I'd say Phil.
Yeah,
I'll say Phil, and
I'll
explain why in a later question. That's called forward selling, kids. I watched UFC 249 too. I really enjoyed it. It was great. Like you say, they didn't need a crowd. If anything, an MMA crowd is generally shit. I hate MMA crowds. They're so spoiled. And
they
arrogant.
boo.
Yeah.
The way they boo any sort of ground fighting at times. You know what I mean? That's pretty wanker shit.
Yeah. Obviously, they're losing massive money through it. So, the better we can all get back to being in crowds, in general, just yay for that. But MMA isn't missing out on it. I thought it was great to stay up for a UFC as well. The fight card was great. The entire card up and down, even from the prelims on, it was a totally really solid card. So it was fun, and I've found a new thing. I'm going to keep zooming for big UFC fights, because it's much better than going over to each other's homes. Because when you go over to each other's homes, then you have to be it's like it gets to 4 a.m, you want to sleep, or you want to like not be in fucking jeans or something. You know what I mean? So like, I much prefer that aspect of it. There was another thing though. I did feel shady watching the actual show itself, and I felt this way towards UFC for a while. Like even the way it was opened up, they had Donald Trump open up the show with a promo. I didn't like that. Like that was just very like it just kind of set the tone for what was to come as well. I felt uncomfortable with the lack of social distancing, like, and I said this even on Twitter last week. Like UFC Embedded last week was a series of videos where people said they were social distancing while clearly not social distancing. Like, I will not be surprised. I don't know if like the events they have planned are going to go ahead or they're going to be forcibly shut down again, because they do not give a fuck. They're dunces, like they're absolute dunces. A lot of them. Dana White sitting at ringside right next to someone else without a mask or gloves or anything, just to show he's mad and he doesn't give a rat's about this disease. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Joe Rogan, I think, done himself no favors. Go ahead.
Did you see him fist bumping Jassere with the foot in the weigh-ins?
Yeah.
A COVID-19 positive patient.
There's going to be a huge. There's going to be a huge fucking.
Like.
There's going to be a huge fallout from this, because Dana White himself is probably going to get it now. We know that. Like, we've seen it happen. Like, so, and then it's going to spread to other people because they're not taking they're not making an effort to take precautions. They're almost like sticking the middle finger up. They're like fucking kids out in the park, like, who are going, fuck this disease. You know what I mean? You're like, they're only stupid teenagers. I was stupid once too. But like, that was the entire $1 billion organization. Like Joe Rogan getting into the ring, they had precautions for Joe Rogan to do interviews after the fight, but he deliberately said, no, I'm not going to do this, I want to do it my way. Got in the ring, shook hands with fighters.
What were the precautions?
That he was supposed to do it like remotely. So he was going to interview them and they just show a side by side. Would he stay at ringside socially distancing? But he chose to get in the octagon and no one stopped him. The referees, like, some of them wore masks and gloves, some of them just didn't. It was just, there was no consistency. It was an absolute farce from that standpoint, and I think they're going to get a serious kicking for it soon. But unfortunately, they're living in fucked up America where this shit is allowed to slide. So like, maybe nothing will be done because the fucking president opened the show. But it was really uncomfortable to watch from that standpoint. There was one point where it was like, I don't hope anyone dies, but I almost hope someone dies so fucking people realize how fucking serious this is, because it's like really like they're sending a message that coronavirus is bollocks to America at the same time, and they're the country that are suffering more than anyone else in the world because of this. So it's not good to see either from that standpoint, because then other people, the amount of fucking kids that watch UFC, even over here, the Conor McGregors, the fucking people walking around in affliction shirts constantly, the bros and stuff like that, they're going to be like, no, this coronavirus is bullshit, Joe Rogan did this. And it's like, oh fuck, people are gonna die because of this. Like, legitimately, like, people are gonna die because of this. So I couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable with that aspect of it. But as a fight card, it was great. Francis Ngannou is a beast. I predicted every fight except for Francis Ngannou, because I thought he was gonna choke in another big fight, but like, he proved me wrong. Yeah. Ngannou,
I had the opposite. I got everything wrong except that fight.
Ngannou, I put up like I put up a picture of the prediction contest I did with my mates, like, in the middle, and Ngannou was the only one that was in the red for. The only reason I thought that is because he's a great bully fighter. He's great at doing those ridiculously good knockouts against people he's vastly superior than. I just thought Rosenstruck would be the likes of a Cormier or Miocic, who'd be able to put it up to him, and then when you can put it up to Ngannou, he looks really ordinary all of a sudden. We've seen it a few times before now. So I thought it was going to be one of those fights, but obviously Ngannou just is outclasses him, and if he catches you, you're dead. Like, we legitimately thought Rosenstruck was dead at one stage. We're like, he's not moving. That is fucked up. Someone just died, and it's not because of coronavirus. Holy fucking shit. But thank God he seems to be alright.
Yeah, put 11 cent on that card, and you know what? I'm gonna send Jeremy Stevens a big fucked off tweet now. Wait till you see it. He's getting fucking getting a big filthy rant off me. Well, yeah, I hope you recover from your concussion. You just cost me 11 cents. Thanks. Yeah, so thanks for giving us a chance to talk about UFC. I'm big into UFC, so all UFC questions are welcome. Yeah, where am I now?
Stagmore.
Chris at Stagmore13. Can we have the After Dark? Yes. Two questions here. Can we have the After Dark Ask Low Blows so we can hear all of Phil's rib stories without PC Harvey stopping stopping him from telling them. Well, first of all, that's question number one. Can we?
No.
It's a bit sexist. Chris, I'm being real. I know you're quote unquote not a sexist. So not a sexist. You totally, you know what I mean? You respect women and all of that stuff, but it's a bit sexist. Come on.
I forgot Chris is a massive sexist. Yeah.
He is.
Want to cut the only female voice out of this podcast.
He's owning it now.
Just for your own jollies.
At least he's not fighting
What?
anymore.
Chris, that's not a good look.
It's a horrible look, but be true to thyself. At least he's owning it now.
But no, Phil will not be allowed on any podcast unsupervised.
That's a lie, guys. And if people want to hear stories, then just give me a wrestler's name and give me a few wrestlers' name and I'll try tell you something good about an interaction I had with them.
Well, he does ask another question, and I'll go one by one on this, because he asks, who is the GOAT in the following? So we'll start with the first one, wrestling. Right. Are we all in agreement? It's Eric Rowan?
Yeah, I'll go for that, yeah.
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Kate,
No.
maybe Chris had a point. What's this shit? What's this? Why not Eric Rowan?
Why Eric Rowan?
Do you think, actually, this is a genuine, because it dawned on me yesterday, right? Do you think that Eric Rowan is a future Hall of Famer?
No.
You don't think? I think he is. I think the Wyatt family are going to get inducted as a faction.
Yeah, maybe, but that's like it's technicality. That's like X-Pac is a Hall of
That
Famer.
He is a Hall of Famer. He got into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
X-Pac deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
does Billy Gunn?
Yeah.
Well, he's in the Hall of Fame, regardless of whether he deserves it. Eric Rowan's going to be in the Hall of Fame with the Wyatt family. I'm fucking telling you now, and it's going to be deadly.
Okay.
Though to be fair, Tori
Also,
Wilson's
he's
in the Hall of Fame. What do we know?
Katie Harvey shoots on Tori Wilson. Yeah, no, I'm. By the way, Eric Rowan has his own T-shirts now, Pro Wrestling Tees, and you'll never guess what he's called.
What?
Eric Redbeard. It is amazing. I love his new name. I think I'll probably still call him Eric Rowan because I've done it so much for the last few years. It'll take a bit of adjusting, but Eric Redbeard is a fantastic name, and I fully support it. But yeah, so he's like, he'd probably be the GOAT for me. But who's the GOAT for you then, Katie? If it's not Eric Rowan,
Charlotte Flair.
Oh.
What?
I'm actually coming over to Chris's side now as well. Like, you know,
not even Becky.
you've won two out of
No,
three.
I just say Charlotte Flair to wind up Phil because I'm always saying that I think Charlotte's a better worker than Ric Flair, and it upsets him greatly. I don't know.
It's not even a dig on Charlotte. It's just, so we're back watching Nitro, as we've explained a few times. Watching Flair last night. Flair, it was the one where Flair was in a handicap against Aaron Anderson and Brian Pillman. My God, Ric Flair was the best. Like, he was in the mid-card. Even when he was in the mid-card, like, he was just stealing the show. Like, he was just a workhorse. An absolute guy that just made his own storylines. Like, superstar worker. Like, I'm back on him as being the greatest of all time because when you're watching him in his prime, you realise how much better he is than Chris Jericho in his prime. And that's not a dig on Chris Jericho. Like I'm saying Chris Jericho is probably second if you're, and he'd be up there with Triple H and Shawn Michaels and stuff like that. But like Flair, sometimes because Flair went on so long, you tend to forget that he used to be a fantastic worker. And towards the end, then he was just an out lad trying to keep up. You know what I mean? But I just think I still think Flair now. I'm back on the Flair bandwagon. I was starting to tip back towards Jericho, but I'm more Flair now. Like.
Okay, Jericho's my actual answer for this.
I'm gonna go Shawn Michaels.
Is Flair yours?
Flair would be me, yeah. Jericho would be not a close second, but second.
So we all have our personal valid opinions on that one. All right, the next one is basketball. Rick, I'm going to need your help on this one, right? Because I have an answer, but I don't know the lad's name, right?
Go
so
on.
I was playing NBA 2K20 with Nathan, yeah? And Nathan has been battering me around in that game. But then I chose the Boston Celtics because they're my basketball team, yeah? And I was like, right, I'm going to beat Nathan. And I fucking did. And it was a big part due to the centre mid they have, right? And I don't know his name. So throw some names at me.
Avery Bradley?
No.
Who's in the Boston Celtics now? Kemba Walker?
No.
Blanket. Marcus Smart?
Say that one again?
Marcus Smart.
No, not that one. It's as soon as I hear it's one of those names where as soon as I hear it, I'll be like, it's him. He's like, because he'd still be playing for them because he's like, this is a 2K20, so it's like the new one.
Jason Tatum.
Taco. Was it Taco Fell?
Jason Tatum.
I don't know. You know what? Actually, right. You give your basketball greatest of all times, and I'm gonna look up the Boston Celtics
Could be Taco
squad,
Fall,
and when I see the name, I'll be like,
Gordon Hayward.
It is. Hang on.
It's Cantor, wasn't it?
Ennis Cantor.
Where the fuck? Wait. Oh no! Wait. Hang on.
It's one of those people.
I'm scrolling the names. There's a lot of names.
It's 100% one of those people.
Okay, I don't recognize any. I just looked up the entire squad. And I don't recognize any of these names.
Kevin
It was
Garnett.
someone. Maybe it was it. Oh, hang on a minute. Did you say Kemba at any point?
Kemba Walker.
Yeah, I think it's him.
Yeah.
I think it's him.
Yeah,
so
that
I'm
makes
gonna
sense.
say it's him.
Okay.
He's my greatest of all time. Yes, he is my greatest of all time.
Okay.
He's a point guard.
Center mid.
That's where it's from.
Yeah, centre mid. No, he's the CDM. The Roy Keane role,
That's not what the point guard is, but that's okay.
Yeah, he guards the points break. It's literally in the name. Anyway,
we're not idiots.
That's not it.
Oh, I'm Rick. I watch the NBA. I know everything. You don't know everything, Rick.
It's not like
clearly.
he's a winger. Like that's what they are.
I stay up to 4 a.m. to watch the New Jersey Nets versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
Only one of them still a team, but okay. Jordan is the answer to
Seattle
this.
Sounders.
Jordan is the answer to this. It's fact.
Who's Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
Oh, Michael Jordan. Right, I got you.
Yeah.
Why though?
I'm going to
Like,
say...
you know what I mean? Well, you break down the stats.
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, he's the most interesting.
That's what this
Lads,
is.
did Dennis Rodman not win more NBA championships than all of them?
Yeah, because he won with the Pistons, but it's not. He didn't win them though. He didn't win them for the team. He was on the team and they won. Robert Horry is a guy who's won like 9 different championships, and he's like, I don't think he ever made an All-Star game. Like, there's loads of them where they've won technically more, but they didn't win it. Like,
What about Larry Bird?
Larry Bird's a good show. He's a great player. Like, if you
Because I just
like the
googled top
Celtics,
10 NBA players, and yeah, he's wearing a Celtics jersey. That's what I'm gonna pick him. Larry Bird, my favorite.
Bill Russell's another one for the
game.
Celtics. If you like the Celtics, he's the original GOAT.
All right, Bill Russell and Larry Bird. They're my favorites. My absolute greatest of all times. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's good. I like him.
I thought this was going to be a quick fire round.
Oh, fuck no.
We're into this
well, the
podcast.
next one will be quick. Then the next one will be quick because I know fuck all about the NFL. All right, Mr. NFL, who's the greatest of all time?
Tom Brady. It's just factual. I don't like it, but it's true.
I'm going with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar with the Vikings was a fucking beast, man. I'm telling you now.
Okay, fair enough.
Who's that lad who plays
Peyton
for Broncos?
Michael Vick.
No, the Peyton lad.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah, him. I'll pick him.
That's a good show. Yeah, he's
Actually,
I'll go Michael Vick,
Michael Vick. He bet on dogs fighting each other. He played for the Eagles, so I like him. So
The Falcons, mainly. I remember when he was at the Falcons.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
Do you know what I loved about Michael Vick?
What?
Do you know what I loved about Michael Vick is that when I was playing Madden back in the day, right? Michael Vick was the quarterback, and he was the fastest quarterback in the whole game, right? So if you decide to run with the ball, like it's like having a wide receiver. Like he would just sprint, like, and you would make yards, you would make you down. Like I loved Michael Vick because he was so good in that game. dislike Michael Vick because, you know, the whole dog eat dog thing. But so if anyone doesn't know, like, Michael Vick was done for like having dog fights in his like basement or something like that.
Yeah.
And basically have like betting rings for like dogs slaughtering each other. Like.
And still played for a few years afterwards. Let the record show, like, he joined the Eagles after
I
that.
thought he got the chop.
No, he did from the Falcons, but he played for the Eagles after that. Yeah, he had a decent career after that. Yeah, the NFL.
Well then, fuck the Eagles.
Those Philly fans are wild.
I know. I don't defend
What
them.
are they? Oh, Philadelphia, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
always sunny there.
Well then, I don't. Well, yeah, I don't like their NFL team. Then I'm learning. Also, I changed my answer. Roman Reigns over Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns used to get all the touchdowns and all that. Do you know what I mean? He's deadly. Right now we're into other football, European football.
Football.
Katie, obviously you're the expert on this. So who is the greatest of all time in terms of football?
Vincent Kompany.
Fucking hell.
If you listen closely, you can hear her getting pinched as she's answering that. Like.
Jamie Redknapp.
What?
You're changing Vincent Kompany to Jamie Redknapp.
Jamie Redknapp's a lovely man, and I enjoy his work on that quiz show with Jack Whitehall. That one, yeah, that's funny. I like that. So I follow him on Instagram. Like, I don't follow any other footballers on Instagram.
Katie,
just Jamie Redknapp.
What do you think are what do you think are Harchester United's chances this season?
Who?
Harchester United.
Hartford.
Do you know Oh, do you know what? It doesn't matter. Right? Jamie Redknapp, greatest of all time.
I think it's going to be hard for Harchester to come back after all that heartache a few years ago. You know, with the shooting at the FA Cup final.
What are you talking about?
The entire team has died multiple times. Yeah,
like it was worse in Munich. Like, it was like, it's one of those things that doesn't get remembered. Like, you know what I mean? It's Hobby of Justice for '96.
Is this the plot of Dream Team?
What? Yeah, exactly.
It's a Dream Team. Dream Team is the OG Game of Thrones, because everyone used to die.
Yeah, that's fair, actually. That's a good show.
That's my hot take for this evening. Game of Thrones is just a shit Dream Team.
I genuinely think Vincent Kompany is the best, though.
Okay. I'm going to go Cristiano Ronaldo or Luis Amor Rodriguez.
I am going to go with Connor Salmon. Fight Factory is next. The greatest of all time in Fight Factory.
Oh.
Well, this is an interesting one. Rick, as the general manager, you basically run the show. The general manager. Who would you say is... Wait, no, this... I don't want to get mixed up with a question we have later. This is the greatest of all time, so not just currently.
It's tough, because if you're talking Fight Factory, you're not necessarily talking NWA Ireland, which you're thinking about Fight Factory in a different era. So if you're talking about that era of Fight Factory, you're talking about impact, longevity, kind of records and stuff like that, I'd say you've got to say LJ Cleary, but it's a tough one.
I watched Dom Tuck promo on Gordon Devlin last night, and I'm going to say Dom Tuck. Because
I was going to say Connor Day.
Yeah, Connor's a good show.
I think, I'm just saying, it wouldn't be out of place if... What I was hoping for is that, I'd pick Connor Day, Katie picks Dom Tuck, and Phil and Rick pick Devin West and Troy Mendes. It's that's it. We have 4 people. Those are 4 potential answers. I'm just saying, but I'm going to go with Connor Day.
Phil, who's the GOAT? Choose.
I'm the fucking GOAT. Right? I'm sick of devaluing myself, right? Any other question that comes up, I'm the best. I am the best, right? And I don't consider FFPW that started in 2007. I consider it the NWA days. Right? It never stopped for me, man. They only changed the name. FFPW has been growing since 03.
I just did it to make my question easier, because then there's a lot of people that I could offend. Whereas if I just went about it from an FFPW standpoint, it was a politically motivated question answer.
No, I'm the company guy. I'm the company guy. I bleed it more than anyone. And I don't care. Like I'm sick of it. That €1 thing has pissed me off. I didn't want to bring it up this week. Right? It pissed me off. I've come people over for so long now has clearly devalued me in the eyes of a lot of people. I'm sick of it. I have a list. I'm going to come after people.
What's upsetting mostly is the young lads down the gym have jumped on this, and they're starting to come up with some really creative tweets, and it's really feeding into anger.
Like, I don't know where to direct it. I've got multiple directions now. Like Dan Manning is the original, by the way. Like, if he hasn't put it out, like, there's none of this. Like, but you know what? Yeah, next question.
Okay, so the answer. The final one is low blows. The greatest of all time in terms of low blows. I actually have an answer for this one, believe it or not.
Go for it.
But I want to hear your answer first.
Me?
Yes, Rick.
I'm voting for myself.
No, you're not my answer. You're not my answer.
I'm voting for myself.
Oh, you're going for yourself?
First in, last out. Like, come on. Jesus. Like, give me one
thing. Yeah, well, no.
Yeah, I agree with that, Rick.
Thanks, Phil.
I'm assuming Katie chooses me, first of all, yeah? Like, is that a fair, like, greatest of all time in terms of low blows? You know what I mean? Pool, I carry the pool title champions.
All right.
It's such a vague question too. Like, there's no kind of like way to measure it, so it's ridiculous.
There's no measurement. It's just whoever the fuck.
Just choose someone.
Like, if we're measuring it like the greatest of all time are causing me stress and upset and just general irritation, then yes, Corporate Cian would be my answer for this question.
That puts you up there, to be fair. That does it. In whatever metric you measure it, that is a factor. So, like, that does put you up there no matter what angle you look at it from.
I do have an actual answer, though. Because, might as well give shout-outs to people. I'd say... you see, this confused me, right? You know the lineage of low blows and who hosted it, yeah? So I missed out on the whole Don Marnell era.
Yeah.
So who came after that? Was it Scott or Jade came after that?
It was both. We did the brand split. So it was me and Don, then it was... It was the brand split. It was me and Scott on one show and me and Jade on the other. Then it was me and Jade. Then it was me, you and Jade. And then it was Katie. And now Phil seems to be a part of it. So happy days. It's great. It's great. I love it.
My answer was actually Jade. Simply because when I started listening, Jade entertained me, and then I started hosting it, and I thought it was lots of fun. And also, the posters as well, when you add all that in on top of it, you add in, like, the photography, events and stuff like that. So my answer is Jade. Well, again, there's no real way of measuring it. So, if you want to choose me, by all means.
Jade's a great show, to be fair.
Why don't you just put it out to the people in the poll?
Because I don't do polls with myself in them. I don't do polls in myself in them where it's wanky, where it's me. Like, Cian, you can if you want, but I don't.
There's two. There's not enough options, but fucking
there's a few. Jerry, Justy, like Don himself.
No, I mean, no. There's not enough options on Twitter. Twitter only gives you 4.
Oh, right, yeah. I get you now.
But, thanks for the question, Chris, or the questions. They cause a lot of nice, divisive argument, and now we all hate each other. At Wolf of the Burrow, guys, I just finished reading Normal People, purely to see what all the controversy was about. Meh. If you could pick one wrestling moment to screen on RTE, in turn making Joe Duffy and the Nation climax in anger but intrigue, what would it be?
By the way, that's Jamie Donahue. He could be in the GOAT conversation himself. He was one half of J&J Security, the original Low Blow security team. He's the Low Blows Hall of Famer, so he's in there. Did anyone see this week's Normal People, by the way?
I don't know what it is. Could you explain it to me?
Raging with it.
It's Irish 50 Shades of Grey, and it's fucking hilarious. It's Fade Street, and Katie, I credit you for reminding me of Fade Street last week, for thinking of this. But it's Fade Street, but with boobs. It's the exact it's Fade Street mixed with 50 Shades of Grey, and it's so cringe. But loads of people love it and swear by it. Maybe I'm just missing the point. I pissed myself laughing at it though this week. The one episode. This isn't a spoiler, by the way. It's just a fact. One episode just ended with, like, a couple just lying on a bed, and you're, like, they're not having sex. They're not doing it, and they finished having sex. And your man's dick, for no reason. You haven't seen dick at all in the series. You've seen boobs. You haven't seen anything else. Your man's dick is just hanging out in front of the camera, and it's on RTE1. And you're like, what the fuck? What the fuck? It was literally just, how is this the time that RTE decide to show a dick? Like, why? What purpose is this showing? Like, it was amazing. That's what everyone's talking about, if you're wondering, on Twitter today. It was fucking epic. What's the Irish version of Normal People? So it's getting a lot of people upset because, like, Elflas and L1s are getting upset on Joe Duffy about this. So for me, I'd love to see it be an Angel Cruisers video, particularly where they threw Rob into a car and murdered Rob Harmon. When they did that, that'd be the one, because it'd upset people without context, and even with context I don't know if it's much better, but everyone who was there has the same dark sense of humor. But I'd love to just show, like, elderly people, here's Rob dying, what do you think of that? So that's what came to mind for me, because as well you have to keep in mind, Marion Armstrong got in touch and he said it has to be the CCW press conference. Marion, you know better than this. You were at the show following that press conference. Did that intrigue people? Do you think anyone was intrigued enough to buy a ticket after that press conference? The intrigue part is very important there, whereas I think that'd intrigue people and make a lot of people go, it'd upset people but also make people go, what the fuck is this? So that's my answer.
Mine's Angel Cruises related as well. I think Angel Cruise. I think the Cruises is the right answer, no matter what you pick. The one I went with is Nanny Kill getting killed.
Yes.
I mean, there's no wrong answer. Anything works here. But yeah, Katie and Phil, what's your Normal People moment?
Okay, I think I understand the question now, and I think I would show them the match that had Martina dressed up as the Virgin Mary, because I think that would incite a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
They would find it blasphemous. They would find it just too much. And was that the same match where, like, Justine Pastor were in it, weren't they? And it was a tag match, I believe.
Yeah.
I think there was lots of shenanigans in that. That was really... Which? Oh, Logan Bryce as well, yeah. So, I remember the match now. I think that would have set an awful lot of people, because I think there was enough in that to, like, incite a bit of kind of religious, blasphemous anger.
It's a great answer.
Phil's not here, by the way.
Answer?
He walked out again.
Oh, wait. Well, thank you for the question then. Where are we going now? At Chloe_Lynch. Who do you think can fill in for Becky while she's gone? I had to Wikipedia the whole Raw Women's division there, and all I really see is Shayna Baszler. To be honest, I know Asuka's the champion, but I think the second Shayna Baszler gets her hands on her, it's done. Some maybe would argue Bianca Belair, maybe Kairi Sane, maybe, I don't know. Who's? I mean, again, I suppose you could open it up to NXT and SmackDown and whoever else, but I don't know. Who do you think is gonna step in for Becky Lynch?
I want the record to show that however long this show is, it would be an hour if Cian knew where we were when we finished one question and started another. Chloe, to answer your question, I'd have to say who could be the next breakout star? This is the problem. I don't think there is one necessarily right there, ready to kind of cross over. Shayna Baszler has a lot of like a real world credibility credibility and is known. But I don't think her wrestling is up to par where it's going to draw people in. Because I think Becky had the personality, but also you're getting great matches behind it. Like you had, keep in mind that shortly after Becky's push, like she had the match with Charlotte at Defiant, which kind of solidified her as like both. Like we always knew Becky was a great wrestler. We knew especially, but like in terms of like selling herself as the face of the company, I don't think there's any, like, I don't think she, I think that solidified her. I don't think Shayna could have a match like that, so that's where she struggles. Asuka is a good shout. Like, Asuka is, I saw someone describe her as the GOAT of no audience wrestling, and I'm like, yeah, I get that, because she's ridiculously entertaining in no matter what she does. She makes up for there being no crowd there through sheer charisma, just fucking about and messing. Even her title celebration on Raw was absolutely phenomenally entertaining and justified why she's the champ. I don't think anyone was mad when like she took Becky's title. Consider this, she took the title. Remember what we had in fucking Buskers when Becky won the Rumble? She ended that reign essentially, and nobody was mad because she's so charismatic with it. So she's a good shout, but I don't know if she has crossover appeal. Charlotte's the only one who kind of ticks all the boxes, but she doesn't capture the imagination of a lot of the fans. The sad reality is I don't think there is another Becky Lynch waiting in the wings. Bianca Belair is great. She is fantastic, and she's one, like, especially of her involvement in nearly breaking into the Charlotte Rhea Ripley feud. Rhea Ripley actually is a good shout now that I'm thinking of it. She kind of had a moment there, and she's back in NXT as of next week. Bianca Belair has the tools. I'm going to go Bianca Belair. I'm going to be optimistic about this. I just don't necessarily trust WWE to get that right. But if she does, if she has a moment and an opportunity like Becky did, I think she's got the ability to do so.
One person I really, really wish it was, and I think they could do it, is Naomi. Because when she came back there, you got flashes of crossover appeal where, like, especially on Twitter, all these people who don't watch wrestling were so fascinated by her and just being like, who is this? You know? And especially, like, I don't know, I just think she has that little bit of crossover appeal. I think she has the personality. I think she has the wrestling. I just think if they had capitalized on that momentum she was picking up, that she could be the next big star. But they always seem to just kind of fall shy of pushing her to that next level.
I think,
but I would love it for.
I think with her, there's issues. I think she, like, even just seeing her on Total Divas and seeing the way she carries herself on Twitter, like, she can't knock it into like a messy controversy or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's always something with her that just kind of holds her back. So I don't think it's her in-ring talent. Like, I don't think she can connect fully on the microphone. Like, I think she's a league away from Becky. But her in-ring stuff is great, and yeah, it grabs your eye and it should grab attention. But I think there's something else that we're not maybe necessarily seeing, that if we worked with her, we'd be like, that's why they're not pushing it. You know what I mean? There's just something there that it's like, I don't know if she has the capacity to be a true big star in that sense. I think that's why, because there's no other explanation. She is great in the ring, and everything you say is true.
Yeah, apart from her, I'm kind of at the same where I'm thinking through all like the NXT girls and stuff, and it's just like there's no one fresh enough. Unless someone has a big drastic character change, I don't see anyone fresh enough to just be able to step into Becky's shoes right now.
Is this another? This is another Becky related question. Thanks, Chloe, for that. At Killer Steve W, does Becky return to WWE in any capacity after the baby, or is she Hollywood bound? Well, obviously, I mean, I don't know her, so we're kind of just speculating. I'd like if she came back to WWE. I don't really know how I meant to answer the question, but I think it'd be cool. Do either of you have any kind of, I don't know, insight to add, or?
I'm not really sure. She's really interesting because she's kind of the first person who's left to have a baby in the middle of an active career. When you think about the likes of like Trish and Beth Phoenix and the Bellas and stuff, they left and came back. But what I do want to address is I did see someone on Twitter saying that they couldn't wait for Becky to be a surprise entrant in the Rumble. That's not going to happen. I'm really sorry. Baby's take a little bit longer than that.
That
she
Rumble,
won't
right.
She will not be ready to wrestle again in January for a full schedule. Even with a perfect pregnancy, that's highly, highly unlikely. And I just want to burst that bubble now. I think if we see Becky back in the ring, it's going to be like 2 or 3 years down the line. You know, like she's going to want to enjoy this time, and she should enjoy this time. So I think if she does come back, it's a couple of years down the line.
And even when she comes back, like, you're going to find that she's in a really good spot. Like she's at the leave and dropping the title. So let's say she's got multiple options here. Like, she can come back to a full-time schedule, and the second she comes back, she is the undefeated champion. Like, anyone who's been a champion in the meantime is an interim champion, you know? Like, she was never beaten for it. Mm-hmm. I also think that she's left as big of a star that if Hollywood does come calling, and she decides to do what The Rock is doing or John Cena and become part-time, then I still think she'll make a huge career at that as well. Like, big money paydays, big pay-per-view matches. Like, there's no limit to what she can do. Like, she can stay at home as well, but I just think when you got the option, like, there's very few people who can turn out to WWE and say, I want to become a part-time superstar. Like, but she's one of them. Like, she can be a part-time superstar in a heartbeat and still get the same stardom and the same fanfare as the likes of Goldberg and all that.
Here's what's worth remembering with Becky on that as well. When she came back to NXT, they called her. She didn't call them. She'd effectively left wrestling at that stage, and she was like she was doing different things, and she was finding herself and stuff like that. But she was happy as well. Do you know what I mean? This is someone who doesn't necessarily need wrestling and who hasn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, and not to question, wrestling fans will often hear this as they're not fully committed to wrestling because that's something wrestling fans have decided is important. But, like, I don't mean that in any way a bad way, because she went out and she, like, learned to act and she learned to do other things which kind of helped her later with her promos and stuff, which is why she connected to begin with in WWE. But, like, this is someone who can live happily without wrestling. Not that she necessarily want it, but I'd say we probably won't get Becky on Raw every week again, because, like, again, it's just her life's about to change, like, in a major way. That even if you look at the way she's speaking about it, she doesn't know what the future holds. She doesn't know what her plan is, because she doesn't know how, say, motherhood is going to hit her. Like, you know, she could just be someone who's like, yeah, I'm good. Just it turns, like, I know a lot of people who'd have been like career women and so on, that, like, they had a kid and they were like, I actually like this life and this is what I want to do now, so I'm good. That could be for her, and she doesn't need the money now after her run at the top. And also as well, she's going out with Seth Rollins, who's going to continue to earn good money in WWE. So it's not a case of she doesn't need wrestling. She has the acting chops to fall back on. But I'm gonna make a prediction here and say that WrestleMania that just passed, that was 36, right?
Yeah.
WrestleMania 38, her and Ronda 1-on-1. I'm gonna predict that. How it happens or when it happens or whatever, I think that's a decent shout. Now Ronda's obviously she's trying to start a family too, so who knows, that could throw a spanner and that works. But, like, that's an interesting one because 2 years away, and also on a part-time schedule for, like, a dream match that we never got to have. I could see that happening. That's something that, like, I'd say if I had to bet on anything as far as Becky's future went, I'd bet on that match. But as far as anything else, like, yeah, like Phil said, she could easily just walk right into Hollywood. She's got the name value now. She's got the acting credentials, which a lot of wrestlers who crossed over didn't have beforehand. The Rock didn't have it. He didn't go and get professionally trained in acting, and he's now the biggest Hollywood actor in the world. So she's got that in her back pocket as well. She's got options, and she is in a great spot. And, like, couldn't happen to a nicer, better person, like, as well. So it's a happy success story, even if it means we don't get to have, like, the someone who's a hero to a lot of us. But we've got to see this amazing run too. So it's a bittersweet, like, kind of happy story ultimately.
But imagine, you're in buskers a few years from now in the Royal Rumble, and you just fucking hear the music hit, the pop, like, the surprise fucking return. I know. That'd be cool. But, thanks for the question, Killer. At Brian a Maniac with the Raw title secretly being hidden in the Money in the Bank case rather than the contract, if you could put anything in the Money in the Bank briefcase apart from a title or title shot, what would it be?
I always loved the Feast or Fired match in TNA, where they randomly had the contract termination. I bring that back, like, put that in the briefcase. It was gas. Was it legit? They really got fired, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was distasteful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's fucking what's the illegal like termination of contract. Like, well, you picked up the briefcase, so I mean,
yeah, I would do that, but do a Feast or Fired match again. I'm just put that in the briefcase.
Yeah, I'm well up for that. Rick, what's your answer?
Are we talking about like?
Go ahead, Phil.
Sorry, are we talking about like? So I've won the Money in the Bank. I now own the briefcase, and I have to carry it around me 24/7. You know, on the off chance I run into the WWE champion, and I can cash in at an airport. Like, so I can put I own it, and I can put anything into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my interpretation of it. Yeah.
I'd put pepper spray in it or something. I'd like to see you defend your belt with that pepper spray in the face. You know, another weapon. Like, it's a weapon in itself, so I've just put another weapon, but something light, because you're lugging that thing around all day, so you don't want to be fatigued, like you're lugging it around, and then you see the champ is down, and like you run out there and you cash it out, and you're already cardioed out from the ramp. So when you get into the ring, you cash out, and then you realise, geez, my arm is sore from carrying that concrete block around in it. Like, and then all of a sudden you can't get the arm, and the guy spins up, roundhouses you, and you lose. Right? So you got to be more sensible with this. You got to have a light thing in this thing, and I think now kind of pepper spray, because no one says spray him with pepper spray, then take the case and bang it over his head, and then cash in. So that's how I'd win the world championship.
But you have a title shot.
He's just claiming he has a title shot.
You've no contract. No, but you've got no contract in the briefcase, so why would you have a title shot? It's just a briefcase.
Oh yeah, you traded
it's
in.
A briefcase.
No, but you traded in
No, like, the contract in it.
Yeah, you traded in the contract for something else. The briefcase isn't the title shot. The contract in the briefcase is.
Oh, why would you change? Why would you trade anything then? You just keep the contract, won't you?
You can't do that, I guess.
Well, you can't, because according to the question, you have to trade it for something. Here's what I'd put in instead of a contract, right? I'd put in like loads of ready break, yeah? So that way, if you're hungry, you can just open it up, pour the milk in, stir it around, throw in a bit of sugar, and then you've got like a bowl of ready break. And if someone's pissed me off, and like you're not that hungry, you can just open it and like fuck the ready break at them. Do you know what I mean? And then they'll be like, ah. So that's my answer. My answer is ready break. I don't know, Rick. What's your answer?
I'm going to go for specifically. I'm going to go back to the previous example, and Phil has just won the Money in the Bank contract and is walking around with he's just won the Money in the Bank match and is walking around with the briefcase, and then he opens it up and finds €1 in it, and then someone's like, "What? It's money," and then it's literally Money in the Bank.
No.
Sorry, Phil. He voted me the GOAT earlier as well. I'm so sorry.
I am going to move on. Thank you for the question. Please don't kill Rick. At Rian_.
I can feel your laptop stare, Phil.
you know your laptop starts like heating up and all that's happening now, but it's not because it's downloading anything or like doing like video shit. It's just Phil staring at it.
It's real life heat, yeah.
At Rian_no_numbers. What's the funniest story you've ever heard a former wrestler tell? Mine is Mario Giannetti's story about the Iron Sheik clotheslining a hooker. Okay. Mine is, well, I actually don't, you see, I don't really, well, to be honest, Rick's fucking Beyond the Mat story. Whatever it would be, probably from Rick, because I don't actually listen to an awful lot of shoots, like a shoot interviews and all that. I don't really watch or listen to them. I feel like as I get older and more wrestlers from like the era like that I watched start doing more of them, then maybe I'll pay more attention to them. But I think the funniest, you asked this question. This isn't an answer, but it's just something that popped into my head as a result of you asking that question. Yeah, it was Al Snow was doing a shoot interview, and basically Al Snow has gone on record in the past to say that if a match doesn't draw money, it's not a good match. That's his logic, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody asked you said before that if a match doesn't draw money, that it's not a good match. Going based on your own logic, is it true to say that you've never had a good match in your life? And the question just made me laugh quite a lot. And yeah, I don't know, I'm waffling. Sorry. What are your favorite stories anyway that a former wrestler has told?
I like the one from the plane ride from hell where Vince McMahon challenges Kurt Angle to a wrestling match. The Undertaker is sleeping, wakes up, sees Kurt Angle with Vince McMahon pinned on the ground and chokes Kurt Angle out because he panics because he thinks Kurt Angle's after going mad and attacking the boss. And then everyone's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he just goes, fuck it, and goes back asleep. I love that story every time.
I can't remember the actual stories, but if anyone ever gets a chance to go and listen to Madman Manson do a stand-up comedy set, absolutely take that chance. OTT did a comedy night in Whelan's, and everyone was really, really good. You got Tony Kelly and Dan Barry, everyone's really funny comedy sets. Madman Manson's wasn't so much of a stand-up comedy set as him just shooting hilariously for 20 minutes and everyone in the room just looking at each other being like, I can't believe he just said that, and these stories can never leave this room. It was gas. I would love to listen to more of him. I've never met him, I don't know him, but he sounds like a very funny person to hear stories of.
Amazing. We once did, I might release this sometime, I once did an hour. This is an old radio show I did years ago. I'll have to give it a proof listen now just to make sure that it's 2020 friendly. But me and him did 1 hour of completely improvised radio. And he's just the funniest guy, because it's just me throwing stuff at him and it's just him coming up with world class scenarios and bits off the top of his head. None of it was planned, none of it was scripted. It was just me throwing scenarios at him and he just came up with A1 jokes that off the top of his head. He's one of the funniest people I've ever met.
I have an interesting one, but I don't know if I can remember the story fully. That's the only thing.
What story is it?
The Sid Vicious story. Have I told you that?
Yeah.
Okay, so back in the day, I'm on the we're at AWR and we're doing the Tour of France, right? And everyone's on the tour that's Irish, pretty much. You have Shawnee, Paddy, Joe Cabrera's running it, Jamie Coleman is running it. You have Justy, Paul being myself. Anyway, so one of the shows finishes in one of the towns, and it's early in the tour, right? But not early enough because there was 2 buses that went to the next town. There was a bus the next morning, which took most of the American wrestlers and some of the Irish wrestlers, and they travelled throughout the day to get to the next venue. And then there was another bus that me, Justy, Paul Bean, and Jamie Coleman were on, and a girl called Anne O'Brien who used to run it. And we were on and it was all the French workers, the guys who did production, set up the lights and stuff like that. And we used to travel through the night, and that was the best bus because we finished the show, we're on a high after the show, and we just travel to the next town, which might be 10 hours away, right? But as we're traveling, we're sleeping. So we'd grab a few cans, a bit of bread, a few ham and cheese rolls, we're I'm having a crack every night, all right? And then you just go up to your bed, you sleep, and you wake up in the next town. Sid Vicious is on the tour, right? And Sid's had a couple of days of the day bus, right? And he's pissed. He's this is too long to be traveling on the bus. He's cramped into these small seats. And then when he gets there, he's been asked to wrestle. He's only getting a couple hours in the hotel, and then he has to do it again the next day. He finds out about our overnight bus, and he turns around and says, I want to be on that, right? So immediately we're freaking out because this is Sid Vicious. This guy's a killer, you know what I mean? And we can't have the same crack, we can't tell the same joke, we can't have the same crack there. We're going to have to be real quiet. He wants to come on the bus to get asleep. So sure enough, we're a bit worried, and we all sit down, and Sid gets on, and he kind of sits down beside us, and we were very gently easing him into things, Sid, do you mind if we have a drink? and he'd say, yeah, no problem. I can't remember what he drank or not. Like, we kept these in, and like small jokes, and I'm sorry to drag this on, but like, he was like, to understand how trepid we were, like we were terrified here, like, because we were terrified if we said the wrong thing, this guy was going to snap and kill us, right? Hold on. And we're just asking him, and it turns out Sid Vicious is gas, right? One of the funniest people ever, like, right? Like an hour in, and this lad's telling jokes, like we're like, ha ha ha. Sid, we're like best mates with him, right? We're like, you know what I mean, just having a crack with him. I'm like, I can't believe we're turning around to Justy and B, and I'm like, can't believe we were terrified about having this lad on the bus. He's great crack. What an addition to the team, right? Like, we're like, this is going to be great for the next 2 weeks, right? And it comes around, we're asking like different stories about like WWE, WCW, and like, or he's telling us about his career basically, right? And then out of nowhere, Jamie Coleman, NLW promoter, by the way, turns around and goes, So why did they fire from WCW? And he went. I mean, he went blank. And Sid Vicious just looks at him and goes, maybe I stabbed the Booker 46 times in the back. Kicks up his hand, opens his hand, and lays across Jamie Coleman's cheek. I mean, it was a slap. It was a slap of all ages. I mean, like, it just a stone cold. And we were like, Sid Vicious just breaks out fucking laughing. And we're like, yeah, Sid. Great one. Finish our drinks real quickly, and then it was just like, yeah, look, Sid, I'm gonna get in. I'm gonna have an early one. Jamie Coleman still has a big red mark on his cheek. I mean, it was a knockout shot. I'm surprised Jamie just didn't go down there. Like the mark, like the slap off it was just like, oh. And like, I was just like, oh my God, Sid Vicious just bitch slapped Jamie Coleman. After telling us he's canceled 46 times. Like,
amazing.
He stabbed someone?
Yeah, no, it was him and Aaron Anderson. They had a fight in the shower.
Yeah, I've heard that story.
Yeah, he was telling us that like it was such a small argument and it escalated, and that he had a tiny pair of scissors, and that they start fighting in the shower, and that he starts stabbing him while Aaron Anderson was trying to take him down. He was stabbing him over his shoulder, like in the back, like Jesus so not like in the kidneys or anything like that, but like he was like shoulder blade area or whatever, like, because I don't think you could stab somebody 46 times and them survive unless it's like really like minuscule stabs, like. But still, I was like, this guy's sleeping on the bus tonight. I'm not saying anything else. We should just like quietly try to escape the situation. Thankfully, to end the story, so just so I had for the next 2 weeks goes, he wrestled. I think he was wrestling Paddy Morrow most nights, and he picked Paddy Morrow. Or it might have been actually Paul Tracy. I think he picked up, probably Paul Tracy makes more sense. And here's another story as well. Yeah. So I think he ripped his bicep off Paul Tracy, giving him a powerbomb. Like what? Like I think as he's picking him for a powerbomb, he ripped his bicep. I mean, it was a huge bruise, so he had to leave the third early. Like, he left after like 4 or 5 days. But one of the days he picked up Paul Tracy with his powerbomb. Like, he picked him up, and oh my God, he dropped Paul Tracy straight on his head. I mean, it was vicious. Like, so Paddy goes up nice and easy, I imagine. Like, he's able to drop him, and Paddy was landing like high enough as it is. Now, and then Paul went up, and Paul just came crashing down, right? And then like we're all in the back of Paul. We're just like, you all right, Paul? Like, and Paul's holding his neck and shit like that. And then the most insulting thing I've ever seen, like, Sid Vicious comes in and hands him 20 quid and goes, sorry about that, kid. I was just like, oh my God. This is like, thankfully that was the end then, I think. Like, I think Sid just turned around playing back to America, like, but fuck me, like, he was bipolar. Like, he was one of those guys that was great for the few minutes, but then like you're like shit, like you don't want to watch that guy, like.
Literally, no, but it's cool that he's like kind of living the gimmick too. I'm kind of into that because I'm like, he's what you want him to be. He's what you expect. He's Psycho Sid. Love it.
Well, that's thanks for the question, Rian. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, cool. No, I just asked because what you call it? You know, you can. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, at Sean McSarron, book. All right, interesting one. Book a championship tournament with the following wrestlers and belts. Have you seen these wrestlers and belts?
Yes, I'm looking at them now.
I have put the effort into thinking up a tournament bracket. Right, he decided to do a tournament with 10 wrestlers. Right, 10, like not a number you can divide, like not 8, not 16, 10. So thanks for that, Sean. The wrestlers in question are, I should have written this down so they're in order, but fuck it. The wrestlers in question are Triple H, Mr. Kennedy, Vincent McMahon, Chuck Palumbo, Edge, Phil Boyd, and Phil, he doesn't have a year. Don't check it. He doesn't have a year beside or anything like that. Just don't check it. Please don't check it. Phil Boyd, John Cena, no, Rey Mysterio, Tito Santana, and The Rock. So here's how I do this. Right, first of all, you've got round number 1. Okay, Mr. Kennedy and Vince McMahon. They have a scrap. First of all, yeah. How do I do this again? It was I wanted Mr. Kennedy versus Vince McMahon because the whole history with the son. Remember, he was meant to be Vince's son and all that.
Yeah.
So we get payoff for that. Vince wins. We have Triple H versus Phil Boyd. Phil wins. We have Edge versus John Cena. The rivalry continues, you know. And I have John Cena win that. Okay. Then I have who do I have then? Chuck Palumbo and The Rock. Banging match. I go with Chuck Palumbo to win that one. Rey Mysterio versus Tito Santana. Rey Mysterio wins that one. So then in the next round, who are the 5 wrestlers we have left? We have Vince McMahon, Phil Boyd, John Cena, Triple H, and Chuck Palumbo. Yeah. Yes, that's what we have. No, sorry, you got it wrong.
Chuck Palumbo's in there, yeah.
Sorry, we have Vince McMahon, Chuck Palumbo, Phil Boyd, John Cena, and Rey Mysterio.
The dream bracket.
Okay, so the dream, of course. I want Phil Boyd versus Vince McMahon. Phil wins.
Okay.
We have John Cena versus Rey Mysterio. John Cena wins, and then Chuck Palumbo gets a pass. Then in the final 3, we have Phil Boyd, John Cena, and Chuck Palumbo. Phil Boyd and John Cena have a singles match. The winner faces Chuck Palumbo. That's just how the draw works. 10 people, you know how it is. They draw, and then Chuck Palumbo wins the title. So, yeah, thanks for the tournament brackets, Sean. I appreciate it.
It's getting into summer.
Any objection to that tournament?
No, I love it. It's getting into summer.
No,
summer is where Cian comes up with mad fantasy booking signals. It's now tradition on Low Blows for a 3rd year running. So, guys, send in your fantasy booking questions. This is Cian's time to shine.
I put so much effort into that. But yeah, we'll do a bit of fantasy booking. Okay, if that's what you want. At Owen_Davis1, what is your favourite one-night storyline in wrestling? Mine is when Big Show lost to Eddie Guerrero, quit wrestling, cried, attacked Tori Wilson, cried, flipped the car, and tried to murder Kurt Angle in 2005. I struggled with this question. A one-night storyline in wrestling. In the end, I do have an answer, but I'm going to throw it out. Katie, Phil, any of you have any answers for your favourite one-night storyline in wrestling?
My one is actually an Irish one-night storyline. It was one of the very first Fight Factory shows I ever went to watch. It was a gym show, and there was a Cruiser 8 tournament. I believe it might have been the first one ever.
Yes.
And the running storyline through the night was Justy trying to make Cruiserweight. And he opened the show in his sauna suit. And like I had been to Irish shows before, but when I had went to the shows, they didn't. It's fair to say they didn't really do comedy and all, wasn't it?
No. Not really, no.
Yeah, you didn't really do it.
No.
So, this is the first time I'd ever seen an Irish show. I just remember laughing the entire way through the show at Justy trying to make weight. And I don't think he ever made it into the tournament, did he?
He did. He put a mask on and got in. Yeah.
Okay. And then Be Cool ended up in the tournament.
Yeah, so the actual tournament she's talking about was we just joined the UEWA. And the UEWA was the Union of European Wrestling Alliances or something along those lines. And basically it was like an alliance of like an Irish promotion, UK promotion, France, who else was in it? Italy, Scotland, Wales, and Germany, and Norway. And they were having a tournament up in in Norway to crown the first UEWA Cruiserweight champion. So we had to send somebody to it. So we decided to have a 16-man tournament. But what we did in the format of like 4 fatal 4-way matches with the winners all going into a fatal 4-way.
Nice.
And we said be cool. Of course, that was the end of us with the UEWA, basically, because, of course, Be Cool showed up. And you have to remember, it's not the Be Cool you see now. It's not the Be Cool you see now, like the fancy gear and he's looking jacked and slouched and stuff. It's Be Cool scrawny, right? Doing his comedy gimmick, and he wore these short Adidas red shorts. And, like, as much as I love the gimmick, like the Norwegians and the rest of the Europeans just did not get it at all. Like they thought this was the best. This was the best Ireland we're sending over.
Yeah, well, I just always really liked that because it was the first time I'd seen comedy wrestling in Ireland. And yeah, it just always stuck with me. So thanks, Justy. Nice. There's your nice mention for this week as well.
Justy. For me, it was like, look, no one talks about this because it's a horrible thing that happened beforehand. But, like, there is a certain comedic value to the fact that Vince McMahon died, like, in a limousine. Like, the most dramatic thing to happen in WWE ever. His limousine exploded. And then the next week, because of the worst thing that ever happened in WWE, had to open Raw and just be like, yeah, so that was a load of bullshit. You know what I mean? And then had to announce like the most horrible thing ever happening. Now, obviously, that horrible thing overshadows everything. But like in terms of one night storylines, that's pretty epic because they couldn't pay it off the way it worked out.
Yeah, like I was thinking about that one as well. One thing that came to my mind was when everyone walked out with Triple H.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I wasn't watching wrestling at this stage. I think I was kind of in and out in 2011. That's when this happened, I think. And I don't understand it. It makes no sense, but it's really, really funny. And I might go back and watch that later because, yeah, it was like John Cena, Sheamus, and CM Punk were like, "We'll stick with you, Triple H. I'll find a broomstick or something like that." Yeah. And then like, what made it funny is that all the good guys walked out. Like all like Joe Morrison and Evan Bourne and all that. Yeah. It's like it made everyone look like shit if I remember correctly. Yeah. So like, that's my favorite actually. Yeah, thanks. Actually,
that's actually great.
Thanks for asking that question.
I forgot about that.
It's all coming back now.
That was a great episode of Raw. Yeah.
That would have been so funny to talk about at the time, actually. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for the question, Owen. At Joe Stodge, with Rey Mysterio getting stares in his eye. I don't get the context of it. I've only seen the picture. I haven't seen the video, but it looks really funny. What's the worst thing you've ever gotten in your eye? I got arc eye from welding when working in a factory before. It feels like you stand in your eyes and lasts about a week. Pure hell. I can't think of anything like super mad that I got in my eye. Do you have an answer?
Do you ever... Cian, you might be able to relate to this as well because you're not a handyman either, okay? So, do you ever like have like a builder or someone over in the house and you're kind of like you're very like aware of your surroundings. You're trying to relate to them on a level. And you're like, manly man stuff, rah, yeah, cars and birds, rah, right? So we'd like a guy who was doing work in the home before, in a home I lived in before, and like he had to do work out the back, including like drilling into a wall. I think he was putting up a sky dish or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll help you out, mate. Don't worry, I'll hold the ladder for you or something. It's grand. Don't worry about it. Yeah, we're men. What? Blah, blah. Men, lads. And then, right, so instantly, like, as soon as he did this, I realized that, like, he was wearing a visor. And I realized why. Because the second that he started drilling, I looked up because we were having, like, little awkward, like, punter builder chat. And I looked up towards him, and immediately a stone fell in my eye. But I'd already committed to holding the ladder for him, and the job had just started. So I had to then, like, just stay for 20 minutes while I was like, I got a rock in my eye. And then also as well, I didn't want to be emasculated by him. So, like, I didn't want to admit to this. I didn't want to admit I just had to go in and wash my eye. I was just like, I had to just sit there in pain and make like, yeah, no, I saw the match last night. Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? And make this awkward small chat. So that immediately came to mind for me.
For me, I had a series of unfortunate events when I first started going out with Phil, and one of them involved my eye. I am severely allergic to insect bites. Like if I get bitten, I get a really bad reaction, and one of them bit me in the eye. When I was playing golf, which is a weird thing for me to be doing because I don't play golf, so I don't know why I was there. But I got bit in the eye, and my face swelled up basically, and I think we'd only gone out like 2 or 3 times at this stage. I was like, oh look, I'm really sorry, I can't see you, my face is swelled up, I got an allergic reaction, blah blah blah, which seems like a fairly normal thing you could say to somebody. Well, he was immediately suspicious because I'd also had to cancel seeing him the week before because I had been drunk on a bus and I tried to go upside down on a pole, and the bus came to a stop and I fell off the pole and smashed myself off the floor and badly sprained my wrist. And then I think the week before that I'd had no money, so it was just like this like series of unfortunate events where eventually he was just like, do you even want to continue on with this? It's like, I know these seem like excuses, but they are actually real things that happen to me on a regular basis.
It all makes sense now.
The insect bite in the eye while playing golf is the worst thing that's ever happened to my eye.
That's pretty disgusting. Yeah, jeez.
Fucking Phil, do you have an answer, or is he there?
No, he's currently not in the room again. I'm sorry.
It is his birthday, like, so like he's busy.
Yeah, but I mean,
go for it.
Yeah, it is his birthday, and random people keep stopping by the house to shout in the door to him. So that's why he's so in and out.
Nice.
Well, at Irish Slam Dan says price and value are not the same thing, Philip. So will we tell Phil when he gets back that Dan has just dressed him as Philip, or will we spare Dan's life? That is the fun question of the day. I
think the fun part about this though is this is Dan trying to be nice to Phil. This is Dan trying to make amends with that. He's trying to say just because you're only worth €1 doesn't mean you're not valuable. So like that's the ultimate point here.
The Philip part.
I know. I think he's trying to be respectful there. I think he's trying to be respectful.
Oh no. All that reminds me of is that bit in Father Ted where he's like, you address me by my proper title, you little bollocks.
Yeah.
That's all that reminds me of.
That's what I think he's trying to do here. Like that. So I think we should never tell Phil that this question happened because he's not going to listen back to this show. So let's never tell him that Dan tried to make amends. So let's keep the heat going. Sorry, Dan. You're still in the show.
Well, we've read out the question nonetheless. Phil is gone. Name the most valuable member of each Irish promotions roster in your eyes, and name the top dog prize member of each roster from an outsider looking in. They rarely match. So I think I understand this question, but I'm not entirely sure. So what's the top dog prize member of each roster? Like, what's he mean by that?
So my thoughts on this were like Jordan in OTT. Jordan's the most valuable guy, but this is actually very relevant, particularly in indie wrestling, because in indie wrestling the kind of the top dog guy isn't the most valuable because they're not always guaranteed to be there. And usually in indie wrestling, the top dog guys are usually either like in talks for going elsewhere, or they're going so they're not the glue guys of the promotion. They're not the guys that actually hold the promotion together. So for me, I don't know if this is the case now with either people, but like thinking of a certain stage of OTT in the recent past, I'd say Jordan would have been the top dog guy. I'd say, and I'm not just saying this, I'd say Justy would have been the most valuable guy for OTT at one stage. So when you think of it on a range of levels, from both an in-ring performer, everyone loved him, could cut promos, could sell storylines, could be in any position on the card you needed him to be, but also as well in terms of his backstage influence, like with helping out with the ring and kind of being a handyman and that kind of thing, but also as well in terms of social media marketing and in terms of actually being able to get engagement in things to do with OTT and everything else. I'd say Justy for a period there was the most, he still could be easily, but it's just OTT. I don't know. I can't really judge it right now because it's not a thing anymore and it's a constantly evolving thing. So OTT, when we come back, could be completely different to what we know. I'm sure in a good way, though. You know what I mean? But Justy would I say be the most valuable in OTT, whereas like Jordan or Martina might be the top dogs, but Jordan is in NXT UK, he's the cruiserweight champion, Martina's in Ring of Honor and can't wrestle as much, so they're not holding the promotion together the way the guys like More Than Hype you could also put in this debate because they're at OTT every show, and so on and so forth.
I disagree with OTT. For me, the top dog and the most valuable is the same thing in OTT. I feel like when you look at the main event scene, it was Devlin and Walter at one point. Like if you think about it like this, if Devlin or Walter had gotten pulled from any of their big matches during that stretch of their feud, the whole thing would I'm not gonna say the whole thing would have collapsed, like the show would have been shit or anything like that. But like what makes OTT special, what makes it that like the level that it is, it would have been lost because it would have just, you know what I mean? Like the match wouldn't have happened. And it would have been a very crucial, because every big show, there's, another step to the story, and you miss a step if you remove any of those, important elements. Now it's David Starr. David's like, and I know, like, I love, Be Cool, I love More Than Hype, I love Scotty Davis. They're incredibly talented young Irish wrestlers. But when you look at, like the way I decide this is, if I remove one piece of the fucking puzzle or whatever, what's left? And if you take out David Starr right now, like the main storyline it all revolves around David Starr right now. Like what happens then? You know what I mean? Like, and I agree. Like if it was somebody who was like, resting elsewhere most of the time and about to get signed or whatever. But I know he's an import, but he's very much an OTT wrestler. You know what I mean? So in terms of OTT, it's the exact same. I'll go with David Starr. Perhaps in Fight Factory, it might be different. I would say in Fight Factory, the most valuable would be like the kind of youngest generation coming through now, the Flamboyant Fabios, the Club Rock Shandys, you know what I mean? For the same reason you just said, you know what I mean? Like the champion, when Jordan was a champion, he wasn't at every single show, you know what I mean? Like when Valkyrie was champion, wasn't every single show. But like for Fight Factory, it's kind of like what I feel is the difference there, that it's about kind of the next generation the entire time, you know what I mean? So. Whereas people watching that might say, "Oh, I recognize, LJ Cleary," or "I recognize," so they'd be like the top dog from an outsider looking in, but from from an insider, it'd be like, the younger kind of like next generation coming through.
On a Fight Factory level, I totally agree with what you're saying there. On a Fight Factory level, to answer in terms of valuable, I'd actually put Club Rock Shandy at that as well. I know you mentioned them there, so I put Club Rock Shandy there. Both in terms of because I see Fight Factory maybe differently to other people being involved in it, but also in terms of the card, right? They can wrestle anywhere on the card that you need them to. They can do comedy, they can do main event, they can do the mid card main event where they just need to steal the show. So they're an asset in terms of wherever they are placed on the card, but also in terms of the ethos and kind of vibe of Fight Factory. They're such an integral part to the fun and family atmosphere that's there. Even when they're just messing around backstage, if you took them out of Fight Factory, they'd be missed in a big way. Just their personalities alone, just being around the place, because they're such good crack. Everyone likes them and they kind of bring the room together, that kind of way. So Club Rock Shandy are a great shout there, now that I think about it.
Katie, do you have any?
It's very hard for me to answer because I'm too close to it. You know that way.
Yeah.
I'm too close to it. I see too much of what people do and what they contribute, and I can totally see your perspective with David Starr, for example. But for me, he's nowhere near the most valuable roster member in OTT. You know what I mean? Because I see too much of what goes on and stuff. For me right now, for me right now, the most valuable member is Be Cool, because he's someone who's always been there. He's someone who's constantly reinvented himself to fit into storylines. And I think he's one of the people that if David Starr had to pull out tomorrow for some reason, you could build a storyline around Be Cool that people would accept. I think he can fit in anywhere on the card. Yeah. And right now, for me, he's the most valuable person. He's almost like a chameleon. He can just fit in anywhere, and that's a really important quality to have. So yeah, I think a top dog, David Starr, but most valuable, Be Cool.
It's an interesting one.
That's a fair way of looking at it.
Fight Factory, I can't answer because I'm too close to it.
So, like, who's the most valuable member of your family? You know what I mean? Yeah.
And like with Phoenix, I'm going to say just a shout out to Phoenix is with them. I'd say kind of similar to Fight Factory about how like for them it'd be local talent, for them it'd be wrestlers from Cork, Limerick, the Munster scene that I'd consider the most valuable because that's important to their identity. You know what I mean? If you like an outsider might look and they might see imports from ICW or bigger names from Ireland coming in and view them as the top dogs, I'd consider it like their local wrestlers to be arguably the most valuable because without it then it's just another promotion, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, if you've ever seen Steve Savage in Limerick, I was watching the Phoenix show in Limerick yesterday, and it's like John Cena. So if I was asked to do a Limerick person, an outsider would be the exact same as my answer. They go with Steve Savage because if John Cena was show up in Limerick, don't care. The Rock, don't care. Roman Reigns, don't care. Steve Savage, yeah, fuck yeah. The local again. Like I can't really pinpoint to any one particular person, but like. Yeah, local wrestlers, and then it kind of depends on the promotion. It varies, but it is an interesting, another really good question there, and one that won't get you killed as well, which is a good plus.
Well, Phil's just walked back in and asked me what we're talking about, and I've declined to tell him.
Yeah,
so.
let's just leave it. Let's just keep it going.
We'll move on. At Kento TCFC, erase one Simpsons character from the show. Who is it, and why is it Milhouse?
That's harsh.
I wouldn't go Milhouse. I love Milhouse and I love his family.
No.
I love the type of character he plays. I go with Pooh because it's kind of nearly got them cancelled over the past few years. It's kind of made them look a bit like weird and problematic, and it takes away from a show that I love. Again, I don't necessarily have the issue with a Pooh that a lot of people do. I just don't like the fact that it's giving people a stick to beat the Simpsons with because I don't want to see the Simpsons get beaten with a stick. So if we have to take anyone out, it's going to be a Pooh, but for that reason, it's nothing against kind of him or the character, because I've enjoyed a lot of Pooh kind of episodes or moments over the years, and not for race-related reasons. That was never a factor in it. It was just I liked the Pooh specifically. Are you laughing at I liked a Pooh? Is that what you're For God's sake.
I haven't put too much thought into it, but I'd be controversial here. I'd take Maggie Simpson over.
Oh.
Why?
I don't think she's brought a lot to it.
She shot
Mr. Burns.
Yeah, well, like I said, I didn't put too much thought into it.
Really put no thought into it.
Like, what else apart from that did she do?
Like, she's cute. And like the whole duo for her, that was all based around that entire like classic episode was all based around Homer working for Maggie.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot more minuscule characters you can take out, but if you have to take out a major character, I would probably look at her. But so I think even the dynamic of just having Lisa and Bart there would be okay, you know.
I like it. Yeah, spicy hot take. I'm into it.
I'm not into it, but I can't think of a better answer right now.
I'm just gonna say Homer to just shake things up a bit. You know what I mean? Just like superstar shake up. You know what I mean? Just see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. The Simpsons again. It's not a show I'm overly. You know what I mean? It's just a show I kind of watched growing up. I thought. I don't know. I'll just take out somebody really central and important to the show and just see what happens. Thanks for the question, Kento. Speaking of Simpsons, at Simpsons WWE, what's the dumbest way you've heard how someone you know managed to get themselves fired? A lad I know just got let go from his new job. He was late 64 days out of 65. He worked there. He got a warning about being late on his second last day and was late the next day. I'll open this up. Who's got dumb firing stories?
I once had to let someone go for this reason. So he put in holidays to take the weekend off, which is grand. Told me he was going to a stag party. Grand, probably shared too much information about what he was doing. And then proceeded to call in sick the day he was supposed to come back into work, and then tried to tell me it was for some like bullshit reason. And I was like, well, I know you're at a stag party. And he was like, oh yeah, no, but it's not that, because I was fine coming home. And this was a completely unrelated sickness that's popped up in the last 12 hours. whatever, that was grand. The same thing happened 2 weeks later. He went on another stag party. When he came back, he didn't even tell me. He just didn't show up to an important training course. Like, just literally just didn't show up, didn't contact anyone. And then when I rang him 2 days later, he was just like, yeah, I was sick again. And I was like, were you hungover again? No. And we had to let him go, like. But it was like, don't tell your manager you're going on a stag party and then not come to work. Like, we were giving him the holidays and he was just like, just taking the piss. Like, so I don't understand his logic or how he thought the situation was going to resolve itself. Like, by just not showing up to work.
We're getting a glimpse into manager Katie.
We know this person from off air, but it's very funny to have it on air too. Documented.
But like, understand my confusion when he rang me with a fake sick voice to tell me he was sick. And I was like, what? You told me you were on a stag party. Yeah, but this isn't that. I was like, what? Just, like, a lovely lad, but just not ready for the working world. God love him.
I've got two. One was I remember when Ireland beat Italy and got through to in the last Euros and got through to play France, and then seconds after the final whistle, when the fixture list was announced, I got a text from my manager going, "Can you work Sunday?" And I was like, who's looking to watch the Ireland-France match? And he just gets back and he's like, fucking prick. And then the guy who tried to shift swap me ended up calling in sick on the day of that match, even though everyone knew what he was trying to do, and just lost his job. That was it. It was game over. He'd already tried to swap it and then called in sick. No, sorry, he didn't call in sick. He no-showed and then called in sick like 10 minutes after his shift was supposed to start. So, like, he didn't give a choice where, like, if he rang at 9 o'clock and it started at, say, 10 o'clock or whatever, they would have maybe been able to twist his arm and talk him into it. But if he fucked them over, then he thought, I definitely will get to see the Ireland game this way, but didn't think about his future job. So, like, he ended up getting sacked almost straight away for that. Another one as well was in a really old job. There was this one really flirty girl who would, like, try, essentially, like, we put it all together. Like, I was a manager in this job, and we put it all together in a meeting where it was like, she's trying to flirt with all of, like, there was like, say there was 9 different kind of managers. There was like 7 lads and 2 girls, and it was like she's acting like, we all put it together where we're like, she's trying to flirt with every single one of us and is like texting us suggestively and stuff like that, and like kind of leading everyone on to try get easier stuff. Now, I was kind of blind to this and I was immune to it because I was with someone at the time, so it wasn't working. But there was one poor lad whose face was just like a fucking lost puppy in the meeting and he was a real nice guy, but I think the dope assumed that he had a special connection with her or something like that, and didn't see that, like, she'd just been getting him to do her job for the past few weeks, and she was terrible at her job. She had a terrible late record. She'd nothing to stand on. Her performance was terrible. She could easily get sacked, but she was trying to work everyone against each other and run the same con on every single person. I remember it because it was so she came to me at one stage and she's like, I need to talk to you, and I knew that, like, she got called to the office at the end of her shift, and I think she saw the writing was on the wall, so she runs up to me because I'm the manager on duty, and she's like, I need to talk to you. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, they're calling me into the office. I need you to help me. Will you support me? And I'll go, yeah, I'll walk you up right now. What's going on? And then she's like, oh, come on in, please come in with me, will you? Yeah, no problem. So I opened the office door for her, and then she walked in. I'm like, I'll see you later, I'm gone. And I closed the door, and that was the end of her. We never saw her again. It was just, I felt so bad for the lost puppy guy because he was like a genuinely nice guy, and I'll never forget his face. And I was like, you're after, like, leading this guy up a garden path. Like, he bought into that, like, so I was happy to be able to kind of get that moment of it. I was essentially like, as I was closing the door, I was so close to saying, this is for Darren. But it was great. Yeah, she was never seen again. So yeah, that was a stupid thing because of course we were going to talk, of course we were going to put it together. So yeah, that's my story.
Dale, do you have any firing stories?
No, I've never had to fire anyone in my job yet. Just touching on that though, like the call in sick thing. like if you know someone's on a shift and like, or trying to get out of a shift and then they call in sick, or they no show, or they call in sick 10 minutes after they're meant to show, I'd be even worse, because as operations, like if somebody calls in sick, I have to do calls, and I have to be like basically begging somebody to cover the shift. Mm-hmm. If they come in 10 minutes after the shift is meant to start, or they call in sick 10 minutes after the shift, that infuriates me. Like if it was up to me and there was no employment laws, I would sack them on the spot. Yeah. But it's just so hard to sack people these days.
I want to be clear, if someone's genuinely sick, it is absolutely fine to call in sick. But like when you're taking the piss, it lands on your coworkers and it lands on your manager, and it's just like, just take a holiday day or something if you're that determined to be off for that particular day. I hate people who make the decision to call in sick for something. Yeah. It's like there's other better ways to handle it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and like with the guy I let go, like that was the last in line of a lot of things. I don't fire people just for calling in sick. I want to make that very clear. I'm not a monster.
Katie Harvey shoots on people who call in sick.
I know. So my friend basically got sacked because, long story short, he decided to get into a fight with a Hutch or a Kinahan gang member. I don't know which, but no, like the person worked with them. I'm gonna keep it as vague as possible, obviously, but it's like not the best if you're gonna fight with someone. You know what I mean? At the workplace, probably not the best. Probably not your best bet. You know what I mean? But yeah, that would probably be my answer. Thanks for the question, Simpsons WWE. No, we're not at the last question. At Spadino90, €1 million, but you then have to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5:30, in the worst, boring, most mundane job you can think of until retirement age. No promotions either. You get normal holidays, but can't act the bollocks with conduct, late, sick, as if you get fired, you lose the money. Do you take it?
I saw this question earlier in the week, and it made me think. See, do I get €1 million as a signing on fee, basically?
Yeah, I think
and then I get my wage.
Yeah, you get your wage. Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, 100%. Like, if there was no wage on top of it, then I would just like, I'm going to make £1 million doing my 9 to 5 job anyway, so I may as well not do the most shittest, boring job. But if it's a bonus $1 million, and yeah, like stick me as a bank clerk then, like, or whatever you think is the worst job. Like, but to me, being a bank clerk, like, just, or something like that where you're stuck in an office is awful to me. Like,
yeah.
I would not take it. Absolutely not. And it's not even about the job. I am not built to be in work for 9 a.m. I am not that person. I'm the kind of person who I'll get up and train and go to work at 6 a.m. or I'll get up, train and go to work at 11 a.m. There is no middle ground. 9 a.m. does not exist for me. Like, I worked in a factory once. You know the tubs sweets?
Yeah.
I worked on that factory line before. I was the person who filled the tubs. And like, it was 9 to 5, and it wasn't the actual work that bothered me, because like, give me music, give me a podcast, whatever, give me someone to talk to, it'll fly by. I could not get my arse there for 9 o'clock. I can't do it. I don't know what it is about my brain. I cannot work at 9 a.m.
Well, I remember Katie told me once that she was sick. Right?
Phil, I've mentioned the name of the company now.
She was sick, and then like she sneezed, like not just mucus, but there's blood in the mucus as well, onto unclosed tubs, and then it was like
no,
it was out 3 or 4 of them.
The internet question did happen, but obviously I threw them tubs out and cleaned the station.
She didn't. She put a sticker on them.
That's not true, Phil. Oh my God, you get me and tubs. Like fucking food here.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh. He's just a liability.
That's
no,
his birthday
I don't think I couldn't take it. I'm not wired to work at 9 a.m.
I was the same for many years because I never did it, and I'd never worked Monday to Friday either until my current job. We do the odd weekend day, but it is the odd one really. But yeah, no, I love it now. Your body shifts, like it's amazing, but like you then have to retrain your body because like you then become accustomed to like office life and stuff like that. I wouldn't take it. Reason being, I like my job now, and I'd sooner take my chances. I'm happy in life as it is, so I just take my chances there. I'm probably going to do better than, like Phil said, you know, if you earn like 40 grand and work for like 40 years, you're going to end up with $1 million anyway. So like it's not like the end of the world like with that. So like you're going to end up with $1.5 million, I think, off the top of my head. So like yeah, you're going to earn more than that in your lifetime. So you'll end up fine anyway. So I don't know. I thought long and hard about this because Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 isn't bad. You could get through it. Like I've worked boring jobs before, and you get through it. And you still have your life. You still have your weekend. They're friendly hours. There's still a lot you can do. But ultimately, I'm gonna go no. I'll take my chances with the real world because like I don't see my current life as that bad that I need to take that as an option. I get why people would though, like because you get the $1 million kind of signing on bonus, like as Phil was saying. So like it is appealing, but like yeah, I don't know. I think I'm good.
No, I don't take it at all. That like it's. I think it'd fucking kill me, to be honest. Like 45 years. What's the retirement age?
65, 70.
65, is it?
Yeah. It's gonna go higher though.
So it's like 45. I can't do the maths. I think it's 45 years. No, like Monday to Friday, that's 5/7. You know what I mean? Of your week, and like by the time you get home, you'll be tired and all that. So I mean, I don't know. What do I do with $1 million? You know what I mean?
You're in college, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're in college, aren't you? Yeah, that's really speaking with no experience of life whatsoever.
Yeah.
You'll be begging for a Monday to Friday job when you're working shift work and they're asking you to work every second Sunday, and like every Saturday and every second Sunday, and you'll be begging to have your weekends free.
No, I'm on Cian's side. I prefer shift work. I couldn't do 9 to 5.
I love to do my job only 9 to 5 Monday to Friday and have my weekends free.
But we don't work in a 9 to 5.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like the 9 to 5 thing is actually a selling point to me. Like, I hate shift work. Like, I hate the fact that I can't have every Saturday off. Like I can't do anything. I can't join a football team or play in a pitch and puck club because you're missing every other week. You know, It was the same with wrestling. Like I had to quit a load of jobs because I couldn't get every Sunday off to go training. Like I had to give up like some pretty good jobs to commit to training more so. But like, would I would still like to be in those jobs and have both slices of the pie? Yeah, I 100% would have. Like, but it's just like that Monday to Friday thing would work out perfect if you had a hobby outside it. Like, it's not as if you're dedicating your life to it. You're just doing your 40-hour week. Like,
yeah, you get through it. Yeah, it's a very good question because it's right there in that middle ground. It's right there in that middle ground where it'd be so easy to take, but you really have to evaluate everything. So another really good effort from Chris.
Okay. So this is just in bold on the doc here. I did not write this. I have no idea who sent this. It just says things more expensive than Phil Boyd quizzed.
So there was a Twitter account. It is at MTB more than Boyd that popped up during the week, and it's just things more expensive than Phil Boyd, and he's just been pointing out things that are more than €1, which of course is Phil's now famous value. So what this is okay, they've sent us on a list of things that are more expensive than Phil Boyd. Okay, the question is, how many Phil Boyds do each of the following Argos products cost? First to 3 wins. No, you get it. No, this is not like fastest finger first. This isn't like Queen versus Cian. So you all get a guess at each one of these. The closest one gets the point. Okay, so we'll have a winner for every answer. All right, I'm reading out products, and you have to guess how many Phil Boyds each is worth. Okay.
Okay.
First question.
And this is Argos we're dealing with.
What's that?
This is Argos we're dealing with, is it?
Argos catalogue, yeah. And
Okay.
I'll need quick answers as well, so no Googling.
Okay.
All right. So, Bosch Village 2-slice toaster black. How many fills? How many fills? How many fills is a toaster worth? Katie.
28.
Phil.
It's way too high. But 18.
Cian.
15.
Katie wins. It is actually worth 40
Ew.
fills. 40 fills. A whopping amount. The next question is, how many fills is a Bush Tall Freezer white worth? Katie. Freezer.
320 fills.
320 fills. Phil, how many of you is a Bush Tall Freezer worth?
I'm not comfortable with this.
Say an answer.
I'm not comfortable with it.
Yeah, okay, well then you lose.
200 cells.
Oh, this feels like bullying. It's like you acknowledge the joke about you or you lose. Cian, how many fills is a tall freezer worth? A white one for what it's worth.
What did Katie say?
She said 320.
321.
Cian wins!
Yay!
A Bush Tall Freezer is worth 370 fills.
Oh.
Next question. Farming Simulator 19 Platinum Edition Xbox One game. How many fills
Ooh.
is that worth? Farming Simulator 19, a Platinum Edition Xbox One game. Katie.
65 fills.
65 fills we have. Do we have higher or lower, Phil? How many of you is Farming Simulator worth?
About 12 of me.
12 fills. Okay, so, Cian.
It's either going to be... I'm going to say 50. 50 fills.
50 fills. Okay, I need to do maths. Cian gets the point. It is worth 33
Love a bit of
fills.
Farming Simulator.
33
That's
fills.
that's a bargain. Farming Simulator Platinum Edition. Platinum.
Platinum.
Ooh.
Better than gold. Okay, guys. The scores stand at Cian 2, Katie 1. Phil has less points than he's worth. The next question, I'm going to change up the order. Harry Potter Spells and Charms Notebook. We're going to start with Cian. How many fills is a Harry Potter Spells and Charms Notebook worth?
3.
3. All right. Katie?
14.
14. All right. Phil?
4.
No.
The point goes to Katie wins it. It is 10 fills. 10 fills. Katie was closest with 14. All right, so Katie's on 2, Cian's on 2. 1 point for them, but Phil, there is still 3 questions left, so you can still sneak back in and win this. So, next question. We are wondering, how many fills is a Lenovo L24Q 23.8-inch QHD monitor worth? So a computer monitor, a 23.8-inch one, though, for what it's worth. How many fills is this PC monitor worth? Cian?
I think we should start with Phil. Rotate it. Nice and even. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'll start with Phil. That's fair.
No, I'm happy for you to go first, King.
No,
I think Katie should go first, actually.
No,
I think if we're being fair...
I'm not being influenced. We're rotating. Phil, you haven't gone first yet.
120 fills.
120 fills. Was that your answer, Katie?
No.
Like
He's just having a bit of a crisis here every time he has to say it.
Okay.
My answer is 250 fills.
200.
For a monitor.
250 fills. 250 fills. Corporate Cian.
254 fills.
254 fills. Corporate Cian, you went for a strategy there to win the game. It did not pay off. It's 210 fills. Katie Harvey, you win yet another game.
Yes!
You win the very first edition of How Many Fills Is This Random Shit Worth? There you go. That was good crack. Great game. And follow them at MTB More Than Boyd on Twitter.
Who sent that question in, guys?
More Than Boyd on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
So it's behind an account, so you can't basically kill anyone.
Yeah, we don't know.
Unfortunately, well, fortunately, maybe.
It's an anonymous funny account.
But we are down to the final question, and it comes from @Riley Conlon. Rick, how did you meet Phil?
So this is a story. Cian, I don't think you know this story, do you?
No.
Katie,
well, I don't think so.
Katie, I know for pretty much certain you don't know this story. I'm right in saying that, yeah?
No, I don't know it. No.
I haven't told anyone this story because I wanted to save it for a time when me and Phil were on the air together, because both of us know it and both of us remember it. But having it's years in the making, and it is a very good story. But I hate to do this. I'm looking at the time, and we're over 2.5 hours into this podcast, so we're gonna have to wait one more week. I'm gonna keep this for next week, and we're gonna build it up, and we're gonna tell this story next week. Finally, once and for all, I've been waiting to save this story for years, and it's worth the payoff. There's a lot of Irish wrestling cameos involved in this story. It's one of the great ones that hasn't been told. It's worth the hype, guys, but I am gonna have to leave it for next week because we may be another 40 minutes on the air once we get into it. We will answer it. Thank you, Riley, for asking. I've been dying to answer this one for ages, but we will have to push it for next week. How's that? That's got foreign selling, kid. Cian, you want to wrap it up?
Well, that was a lovely, satisfactory ending to the show. Thanks for the questions. Bye.